Hey, Curious Connerys. Dylan here. We just want to give you a heads up that the following program contains conversation relating to topics that may or may not include physical and sexual assault and self-harm and mistreatment of different cultures. We are in no way condoning these things. But given that Sean Connery has acted in films going back many years, they've tended to come up. To spin a phrase from Disney, many of these films include negative depictions and or mistreatment of people or cultures that were certainly wrong then and are definitely wrong now. But rather than not discuss this content, we'd like to acknowledge its harmful impact, learn from it, and create conversation for a richer future. Stay curious, folks. And now, on to our show.
Connery Curious! Saga! Last Crusade! You Only Live Twice! And the Anderson Tapes! Murder on the Orient Express! You never know what the wheel's gonna spin next! Marty and a woman of straw! And a wounded man in Africa! We are curious of the filmography of Sir Sean Connery.
Alrighty.
Okay, so shall I start off this week?
Sure, go ahead.
All right, ladies
Wait,
and
did I
gentlemen.
start off last week?
I think so. Yeah, I think
Is
you.
this... I'll have to re-listen.
Yeah, me too.
Anyway, let's
Anyways.
do it. You go ahead.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another installment of Connery Curious. I'm Mario Lima.
I'm Dylan Titus.
Man, oh man, do we have a a whirlwind of an episode for you today?
This is episode 3, and today's film is Sword of the Valiant. 1984's Sword of the Valiant. Let me just pull up. Forgive me. I'm just moving things around on my desktop.
Me too. I'm getting my IMDb here ready.
You've got the IMDb. I've
'Cause
got the wiki.
I got some interesting trivia.
Ooh, all right. Okay, so let's. I'm just gonna read the wiki summary here. So, Sword of the Valiant, the legend of Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, often shortened to Sword of the Valiant, is a 1984 fantasy film dramatic fantasy film directed by Stephen Weeks and starring Miles O'Keefe, Trevor Howard, Lila Kadrova, Cyrielle Clare, Lee Lawson, Peter Cushing, and Sean Connery. The film is loosely based on the poem Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, written in the late 14th century, but the narrative differs substantially. It was the second time Weeks had adapted the traditional tale into a film. His first effort was Gawain and the Green Knight in 1973. All right, what do you got?
So I got quite a bit of trivia here, but there's two specifically that I thought you would find interesting, and our audience would probably find interesting. One
Are they
being
spoiler based?
No, not really.
Okay.
Not at all.
Wouldn't want to get too into it
So yeah. So first bit of trivia here: writer and director Stephen Weeks wanted to cast Mark Hamill as Gawain originally.
I could tell.
The producers went.
We'll talk about that.
Oh yeah. But the producers went with Miles O'Keefe instead, but O'Keefe's voice was very weirdly dubbed.
Wait, what? Really? Oh my God.
By Peter Firth. Peter Firth.
Peter Firth? Oh my God. That makes so much sense.
Yeah, when you go back into it, because I saw that trivia and I said, wait, was he? So I went back to the movie and I was like, okay, now I can't unhear the fact that he's being dubbed.
That makes so much sense. Wow. Thank you.
And then here's my second bit that you'll find very interesting. So somewhat spoilery, not really, but Sir Sean Connery made this movie while filming Never Say Never Again, which is why you only see him sporadically throughout the movie.
That also makes sense.
So while after he jumps to his scene, he hops back on his horse like, well, I'm off to be James Bond again, and he runs off into the sunset.
He takes the horse.
He takes the horse to
It takes the makeup. It takes the whole costume. He's like, now get this off me. And just like he pulls the wetsuit off in Goldfinger, and he's perfectly got the clean white suit underneath.
He still has a little bit of Just has a little eyeliner on, a little bit of glitter.
He takes it off, but he's got the suit underneath and the hairpiece. So should we get into this thing?
I think so.
I think we just gonna have to get into spoilers right away.
Yeah, because I'm not even sure how to approach this. It's very, again, like we just said in this trivia, Connery, not a lot in this movie, but like when he shows up, it is huge. It is crazy.
I don't know if I would say huge all the time, but I made notes of I made. Okay, so on the notes, I had a page of notes for Man Who Would Be King. I had a page of notes for First Night. I have one, two, and then down a half because these are like half divided pages. They got little like blocked off sections for drawings and such. And I just filled that in. So basically 2.5 pages of notes for First Night. And I made notes of the timestamps where Connery comes in.
Okay.
Yeah. So I guess the least spoiler we can get into this is stranger comes to town, presents a challenge, man takes up the challenge, and has a year to prove himself worthy of something. That's the long and short of it without spoilers. And now we get into spoilers.
So if you have not watched the film yet, of course, we always encourage you curious Connerys at home to watch along with us.
Oh my God. You curious Connerys.
Curious Connerys.
Oh, I love it so much. Oh my God. That made me so happy. And it was a delayed reaction. I don't know if you saw that. But when the recordings lined up will show, wow, it took me like 2 seconds for that to punch me in the face. Curious Connerys. I love it.
Connerys.
Oh, we got something golden here, dude. We got something green.
Something very green. So yeah, if you guys have not watched the film yet, go over and look for it, watch it now, and come back to us.
Get high.
Get very high and watch this film.
I'm not kidding. Like, I don't mean to peer pressure, but seriously, get high and watch this movie.
Yes.
Like, really. And if you're a child and you're listening to this, why do your parents give you access to adult podcasts?
Do you even know who Sean Connery is?
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Well, I mean, if you know, I don't mean to discriminate. If you're a kid listening to this podcast, welcome. And I hope you enjoy the podcast. But don't get high. Just watch this movie and have a good time, because your little kid brain is what we often try to achieve when we get high. We try to get our brain back, our adult brain back to kid brain status. Forgive me, Mario. This movie got me high. So kids out there, if you're listening to this podcast and you want to watch Sword of the Valiant, don't worry. Just make some popcorn or something. Or you know what? Better yet, have some celery and an apple. And
Be
watch,
healthy.
Yes. Have some greens and watch this movie, because you'll understand what adults do drugs for. And you'll have a good time, because it's a good kids movie. Is this a good kids movie?
That's what I'm thinking. I wonder what a young child would think of this film, because obviously our adult brains are like, what is happening in this film? But I feel like even a kid would be a little confused, because yes, it takes place over a year, but man, that year jumps quick, and those cuts are quick, and you look down for a second and you have no idea where you are sometimes. We talked about a little bit of rewinding in one of the last films. I did a lot of rewinding for this movie, a lot of pausing.
Yes, so did I. I did a lot of pausing and rewinding. Pausing to process, pausing to just see what was on the screen and why it was on the screen. And then rewinding to take that all in again. You know, yeah. Could you show this movie to a kid?
I mean, that's the thing. Maybe not, 'cause I think this was rated PG, right? Because there was that one like weird.
What does IMDb say? Because it doesn't. I don't think it shows it on Wikipedia.
It's telling me. Where is it?
PG.
PG.
Yep.
Here it is. Yeah, PG.
On Google. Duh.
So yeah, like that's a thing. I don't know if you would want to show a kid, maybe because like there's that really weird scene we'll get into of the woman in the tent that Connery later turns into a frog. You remember that woman?
Yeah,
and she kind of was like,
she was being sexy.
Yeah, kind of like touching her jumblies.
Her
So it was like, so maybe not. Okay, we take that back. Maybe kids shouldn't watch this.
Well, I don't know. There's no nudity or anything. It's just a hint, and every kid needs an awakening of some kind. You know what I mean? Where they're like, wow, oh, I see a pretty lady on the TV, and then I have a type now.
There you go.
We all experience this. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah. Precisely. So I guess, so do we have the plot out here that you can read from on this?
Okay, so I just had to make a little divergence with the Force. All right, yeah, we'll go through the plot and then we'll go. But you have notes?
I have slight notes, but
slight notes. I've been keeping, as I said, thorough notes. And that, I was pausing for notes as well. All right, so my first note is Forge. The opening sequence is a forge, and it's fine.
It's just okay. Like we get shown our hero, for a few seconds.
Okay, so in a castle's great hall during Yuletide, King Arthur. That was supposed to be King Arthur.
They just called him the King in the opening credits.
Yeah. Okay, that was no Sean Connery. Man, okay, man. This movie compared to First Night was so much fun, and this was not. But this had all like the ingredients for fun, and First Night had none of the ingredients for fun. But it was fun. Like I showed my sister the gauntlet sequence yesterday, and she loved it. She had an absolute blast. And then I showed her just like a couple of just random scattershot click-arounds of this movie, sort of the Valiant, and we were both like, what are we in for? I don't even know how to speak. This movie took away a lot. This might be our longest episode.
I think so, because this is like
yet.
Yeah, oh yeah. There's still
Last
quite a
Crusade,
bit.
And
Oh
Dr.
yeah.
No, and
Oh yeah.
okay, so King Arthur halts a feast as he feels ashamed of how lax he and his knights have become during times of peace, questioning the bravery of all knights present. Suddenly, an axe-wielding knight in green armor arrives at the castle, challenging the knights to a game. Okay, so I forgot to mark the timestamp at which Connery comes in. I think it was like at the 6 or 7 minute mark.
Yeah, it's really quick.
Yeah. Well, the opening scene is a little drawn out, I think, of that Yuletide feast.
Well, there's a lot that's drawn out in this film. Man, some of those fight scenes, I'm like, all right, we could probably end this.
Yeah. Okay, so note here. Connery. Oh, okay. All right. I'll keep going through the plot. Forgive me. I'm still finding my feet here on this one. Suddenly, an axe-wielding knight in green armor arrives at the castle, challenging the knights to a game. He challenges them to decapitate him in one swing of his axe, with the caveat that he can return the blow. None of the knights volunteer, leading the king to shame them for their lack of courage and accept the challenge for himself. Finally, Gawain, a young squire, accepts the challenge in lieu of the king and is swiftly knighted. Okay, my next note here. Gene Simmons of the Forest. That is what Connery looks like.
I gotta admit.
Weed Gene Simmons.
Weed Gene Simmons or Poison Ivy Gene Simmons. I gotta admit, I did like the costume a little bit.
I loved it. I loved it, and especially the sparkly face paint was the cherry on top. Oh, it's beautiful. Continue. I'm sorry.
And so I think the costume was great. I love that where we get to see his iconic chest. Like that's the only thing that's not covered in armor. And we got to talk about this beheading scene. What is with Connery in these last few movies with no head?
Okay, well, all right. Well, I've got a note before the beheading. So,
Okay.
spoilers, the beheading happens.
The beheading does happen.
But Connery, the way I've phrased it here, I'm going to read it exactly as I've written it. Connery offering chop looks like he's about to poop.
Not again.
Which is the second movie where Connery looks like he has to poop. Tell me that when he's bending over, he's presenting himself, his neck, but it looks like he's getting ready to just pop a squat on the floor and just drop one right there in front of the king. This is what I think of your King Arthur.
I've done this quite better.
Your Connery's lower, mine's higher.
That's the thing too. Like I think we should also talk about like the in future episodes and whatever, like the range of his voice and how it's like slowly getting to that deeper to what we know in First Night. I feel like First Night's like his like deepest.
Yes, and I made a note. Shoon. He's starting to really put the H's on the S's in this. And this is 84, so pretty on into his career. He's really leaning into those H's.
Yeah, especially if this is like the same time as Never Say Never Again. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I remember that. Just I was planning to write you in my memoirs as number one. Like that. I was like, this is definitely
I watched that girl in Philadelphia. I'm looking forward to watching that one again because I don't remember how heavy his accent is in that.
I just remember stupid little quotes like that, and I just remember it being ridiculous. And
my favorite quote in that movie is, "I got you all wet, but my martini's still dry."
Oh, I can't wait to watch that one. Oh, I hope. Oh, praying to the wheel gods that hits tonight.
I'm actually kind of. Oh, sorry, I thought I heard something. I'm actually kind of okay if it takes its time.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Like I love that movie, and I love Thunderball because I don't know if did we say this in the Zero episode, but if we get Thunderball or Never Say Never Again, we're just gonna do both. So if we get Never Say Never Again, do we want to just do Thunderball first?
Yeah, no matter what one hits first, we'll always do Thunderball first.
Okay, cool.
And they'll be back-to-back episodes.
And then we'll just take both of them off the wheel.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that's exciting.
And for those of you at home who may not know, that is for comparison's sake because they are based off the same story. And we'll get into that when we get into those movies. Anyway, yeah, two films based off the same story, both starring Sean Connery. Little something to chew on for you out there who don't know that story. My next note is just in all capital letters. Weird.
It is weird based on the a very fake ad.
Just everything. Oh yeah. Okay. So yeah. Finally, Gawain beheads the knight. But the body of the decapitated knight picks up his head and returns it to his neck. Okay, so let's talk about that. It's cut off, and the head goes flying, apparently, like so far away.
Across the room.
In a straight line. In a perfectly straight line. So basically, when Gawain hits Connery's neck with the axe, Connery had a spring in his neck, and it just launched the head forward. He just hit the spring.
Eject the head? You're joking.
I never joke about my work, 007. Also, the Green Knight has a spring in his neck.
A spring knight.
So the head goes flying. So that's one head. And that we see that head land. And then it cuts away and it cuts back, and it's a different model of the head which can move its mouth and its eyes and whatnot. So the model of the head that gets knocked off is surprisingly well modeled off of Connery. It looks good. It doesn't look great. It looks good.
Agreed.
B minus. It still passed.
Welcome to our new segment, rating Connery's head.
Yes. Yeah, I'll make that another column in the Google sheet here.
Connery heads.
And then when it cuts back to the head that talks, that doesn't look anything like Connery at all. It is so jarring. It's really awkward and yeah, kind of terrifying and adorable.
I mean, so this was 84.
So they were filming it in 83 or 82.
Like
I'm guessing. Hold on, production. Copyrighted in 83 and released the following year. So 83.
I'm just thinking of, I mean, when it comes to 80, I understand 80s, it was a different time, but it's like we had Back to the Future the following year, and even that movie was like, for special effects, just like ahead of its time. And
wait, which movie?
I'm talking about Back to the Future. Like a year later,
a year later, but that also had Spielberg money behind it.
True.
This did not. I can't even find the budget of this. Like,
must have been $500 because this was like.
Well, I mean, it must have been something. Like, some of it looked really good.
I mean, you're like, look at this cast.
It's
like,
stacked.
Like you have Connery in this. You have freaking Ronald Lacey, John Davies.
John Rhys Davies. Okay. I'm gonna jump ahead a little bit. I cannot find the budget for this thing. Huh.
Let's see if
I'm gonna have to
do
some more research. I searched for budget. It just doesn't seem to be coming up with anything. So I'm gonna jump ahead a little bit. Vosper, the character of Vosper, who is a friar in the movie. He's a portly friar that is good with his hands. He's a good pickpocket. He keeps stealing Gawain's ring and giving it back to him. It's funny. I like Vosper. I thought that was John Rhys Davies. Did you think that was John Rhys Davies?
I did for the first
and then
few
John
minutes.
Rhys Davies shows up in the
I'm
movie.
like, that's him. I did the same thing. And I was kind of like, I was saying, I know he's in it. I know he's like young in this, but I'm thinking
He wasn't that big.
Yeah, and this is like
size-wise. I mean, not fame-wise.
Yeah. And I was thinking because speaking of Connery, speaking of films. Indy happens a few years later. That's 89, I believe.
He did. Yeah, Raiders was 3 years before this.
Yeah, so
and Last Crusade was 5 years after.
Yeah, so when he shows up, I'm like, okay, that's him. Like I can see it.
He's not in Temple of Doom. He could have been. He could have been doing Temple of Doom, but he was doing this.
Yeah, this is what he was doing. Oh man.
Well, I can't seem to find the budget on this mother.
Yeah,
though what I'm seeing though is that it was Wilford Bramble's last movie. Speaking of A Hard Day's Night, that's Paul's grandfather. Have you seen A Hard Day's Night?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Paul's grandfather. He's very clean. Who's that little old man? He's in it as Porter. I don't remember Porter. Do you remember Porter?
Porter.
It was his final role.
I have no idea.
Neither do I.
I feel like I can find a picture of him.
Well, okay. Well, as you search for a picture, if you find it, share your screen. I'll keep going. So, the body of the decapitated knight picks his head up and returns it to his neck. I thought that was actually very well done. It's done in a long walk, like a shot of Connery's feet walking towards the head and picking up the head, and the camera follows it up, but then lets it like go out of frame. so you can tell Connery is just handing it to somebody else and then like grabbing his own neck and adjusting his head as if he's putting it back on. But it's really well done. That might be like the best shot for its low budget. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was
like
a really
that
good
might,
cut.
might be the most creative effect.
Yeah.
I think. And it's just a simple cowboy switch. You know.
Oh, by the way, he was. I had the picture here. I'll share my screen. He was
Yes, please.
I forget which scene exactly. I remember him like.
Yeah, just share the image. I might remember the scene.
This one here.
Oh my gosh! Wait, what?
He was like when he went into.
Was that really?
That was like right before he meets the girl that gives him the ring, I believe.
Huh.
He's like the guard outside.
Yeah, he's like, I'll have you whipped.
Yeah, that's the one.
Huh.
That was his last role, I guess.
Huh. Should we talk about Peter Cushing as Frollo from Hunchback of Notre Dame? Noachback of Notre Dame?
Oh, wait, Peter.
Nooch Vader.
It's funny because I forgot Cushing was in this movie. Like, I guess I didn't see him in the credits, or
We definitely talked about
but
it.
I remember we talked,
but I forgot as well.
Yeah, we talked about it. We were excited about it, and so when he showed up, I was like, "Holy shit! You may fire when ready!" Like I was excited, and
he's Frollo from Hunchback.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's insane. It's insane, man.
He's not a good character, but he's like a chaotic neutral.
Yeah.
Like he's like, yeah, I don't care if you go kidnap that woman, but don't be mean to her.
Like don't what did he say? Don't tarnish the goods or whatever he says.
Yeah. wait till your dad gets home, and then we'll figure out what to do. But don't hurt her till then. And then like at the end battle, he's just like, just leave that guy to die. He asked for it. He had it coming. Carry me away. He's just kind of neutral. He's a neutral old man.
A neutral old man.
Neutral Milk Hotel or neutral, whatever. Anyway, I'm gonna keep going here. Gawain kneels for the knight to strike him, but the Green Knight refuses due to his youth, promising to. Yeah, he's the youngest person in that room full of old men, except maybe the servants.
What was up with the He-Man cut?
Oh my god!
Like that was that what they were going for? Like were they going for like a He-Man type thing?
What year was Masters of the Universe?
That's like I thought that was late 80s, or am I wrong?
87, yeah.
Is that 87?
Yeah, but what? Okay, when did He-Man come out as a concept? 81. Okay, so maybe.
So that's because when I that first shot, I'm like, this is like
some He-Man.
Like they're trying their best.
Also, if you look at the poster on just Google Images or whatever, it really makes Miles O'Keefe look like Geddy Lee from 75 or 76.
Even Connery doesn't even look like himself almost. It's kind of like
he
a
looks
weird.
like Jafar.
Yeah.
Okay, so promising to return in 1 year to claim his side of the bargain, the Green Knight gives Gawain a chance to solve a riddle to save his life, which consists of 4 lines. I'm going to try my best to read it as Connery. Where life is emptiness, gladness. Where life is darkness. I can't do it. All right. Where life is emptiness, gladness. Where life is darkness, fire. Where life is golden, sorrow. Where life is lost, wisdom. All right. I'm going to say it here. That's the best part of the whole movie, is this poem.
I think
seriously, like this is a genuinely moving poem. It's not a riddle. It is a riddle, I guess, in the context of the movie, where he's like, I've got to figure out what this means. He's like, no, it's a life lesson. That's what it means. The riddle is take it to heart, stupid. Like, where there is emptiness, gladness. Okay, like this is like real. I'm gonna get deep here. Like, having just lost, forgive me, folks. I'm gonna get deep here. Having just lost my father, it's gonna be 6 months come Christmas. Wow. No joke.
Already? No way.
On the 26th,
Wow.
Literally the day after Christmas, it will be 6 months.
Jeez.
So this really hit me. Where life is emptiness, gladness. Because you have to find ways to move on when a parent dies. Where life is darkness, fire. That's good. It's dark. Make something of it. Where life is golden, sorrow. You're gonna have good times. You're gonna think things are good, but it's still gonna bite you in the ass even when you're not looking. And where life is lost, wisdom. You know how much I've learned about myself since my father died? And how much I have yet to learn? And how much I'm learning right now as I'm saying this? I need to do more stand-up, man. That was like heroin. So yeah, that poem is literally the best part of this movie.
Yeah, that's deep, dude.
Yeah. I might get that tattooed on me, and I don't like tattoos.
Oh, there you go.
Not that I don't like tattoos. Like I'm not. Forgive anyone out there if you have tattoos. I think they're beautiful. I love your tattoos, Mark. But for me, there's no tattoos. There's nothing where I'm like, I like that enough where I want it on me, and that's got some deep shit. But it's too many letters. That would be really painful.
Maybe do like one half of it. Maybe let's do like
emptiness, gladness, darkness, fire. Yeah, just take out all the where life is.
I think you should put like the antlers from his like headpiece over it.
Those were great. Those were great, and I loved how when he was injured, they turned white, and that was the first thing that turned white.
Yeah,
and he lost his glow, and that was good. It was good. All right, with King Arthur's blessing, Gawain leaves with Humphrey, a squire, in search of the answer to Green Knight's riddle. Morgan Le Fay instructs Gawain to blow a horn near the seashore. Okay, I'm gonna make some more. Read some more of my notes. My next note is Ron Geeson does the score. I've heard a little bit of Ron Geeson's work that he did with. He did 2 albums and I think maybe a little bit more with Roger Waters.
Oh wow!
He's a very interesting musician and composer, from what I've heard. They did an album together called The Body, and it's just like body sounds.
Really?
That make a song. It's interesting. I have to re-listen to it again. It's been 15 years since I've listened to it.
Oh wow.
So it was really interesting to see that he did a score. What do you think of the score of this movie?
I thought it was okay. I thought it was fine. That main theme does get stuck in your head. That that main fanfare.
I hate that main theme
just
so much.
it was just so 80s. That was the thing.
Hum it? I can't hum it.
That's the thing. I can't really remember all the notes, but I just remember like the feel of it. But it was just I don't know. I just felt like.
Should I play it?
Sure.
You felt like continue. I'm sorry.
I was like, I just felt like it didn't fit with the overall theme. Like it's kind of a weird. I don't know. It was a weird kind of feeling for the story they were trying to tell.
I agree. It was just way too happy.
Yeah, it was just too happy. It was
all major key.
Yeah, and just like, just when I think of like medieval type thing, I'm thinking, like lutes and just like horns and whatnot, and like, it's funny coming off of First Night, how different it really is.
Right? That score was good enough to kind of just not be noticed. So I'm going to play the score for the opening here.
It's very cheesy. Feels very dated.
Yeah, that's it.
There it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I got stuck on.
It would be a masterpiece if John Williams did it, or like any modern composer did it. But just I feel like Geeson just doesn't. It's like a shitty video game score.
Yeah, it didn't feel like, again, it just didn't feel like it complemented the piece at all. Just of the whole film, because like, I mean, like, again, yeah, even like, Man Who Would Be King, going back to that film, like that was a great score
Yeah.
for that, and it's before this, right? What year was that one again? That was 80.
What, Man Who Would Be King?
Yeah, that was that.
75.
75. So yeah, it's like, I feel like I don't know, it just felt really dated in this film. It's like, it sounded like
very of the time, but very dated.
Yeah, just like the budget. You could tell the budget went to Connery, and like they had to make some cuts everywhere else, with what they had, and just the special effects, and which we'll get into. There's
Those special effects.
Some of these glow effects, man, of
it's mainly just glow effects.
Yeah.
Those are most of the special effects. There's some decent practical effects. It's not bad for, I'm guessing, whatever its budget was low, but maybe like 2 or 3 million. I don't know. There's no way to find the budget on this.
I'm gonna try to see where I find it.
But yeah, it's of the time, but it's very dated and very of the time, but also like the worst example of that time, I think.
Yeah, this reminded me of like just those really cheesy, like old school Saturday morning cartoons. Just like, I don't know, it just very cheesy, very cheeseball.
That film that came out last year or the year before, The Green Knight. I wonder if it's anything like a good version of this.
Oh, like, yeah, could be a remake, right? Yeah, because this is like, is the actual story it's based off called The Sword of Valiant, or is it called The Green Knight?
Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, poem by Gawain Poet. Gawain Poet, huh? The Green Knight is a 2021 medieval epic fantasy film adapted from the poem. Yeah.
I meant to check that out.
And it received acclaim, so Ralph Ineson is the Green Knight, who was in First Knight.
Really?
Yes, he's one of the henchmen. He's the main henchman in First Knight.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. Oh my God, look at all these connections. So he plays the Green Knight in The Green Knight. Dev Patel plays Sir Gawain. Okay, dude, we gotta watch this.
Oh yeah, here it is. Oh wow. Oh, and Barry Keoghan's in it.
Yeah.
I'm putting this on the list now.
Yeah,
now
same.
I'm curious here.
Yeah. Yeah, this looks good. All right, well, everyone go watch The Green Knight. Okay, so moving on from there. Where did we go? Okay, what other notes do I have? So he and Humphrey set out. Gawain says initiate. Initiate. There's just a random passerby. They just like trot their horses past a random guy in a cloak, and it looks like it might be menacing, and it just nothing comes of it. And they pass him, and he's just like, okay, and then he walks away. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it was really quick, really,
but long enough to be like, what is this?
Yeah, it's like a foreshadowing or something. I'm like waiting for this guy to show up later in the film, but
yeah, I was the one you kept crossing paths with this whole time.
But then we got to get to like the actual threat they face.
The actual threat they face. The armor piss scene. Is this what you refer to?
Yeah.
He's like, God, how do you piss in this armor? And Humphrey holds up a key. And that comes back later. So just know the key means his dick. Okay? Okay. We're all on the same page. All right, so magical unicorn meat will taste good.
The unicorn was hilarious.
It looked good. I'm not gonna lie. Like it wasn't bad. Like they stuck that horn on that horse pretty well, and it was like a thick enough horse where I'm like, okay, I believe it's medieval and fantastical. Like,
yeah, man, like that's probably the best. That's where their money went, was the unicorn horn.
the $30 in glue.
It's like, that's why I see a Sean Connery like, no, that was actually a real unicorn.
and that's how they train the horse. They're like strapping the horn to its head with the glue, and like, this is what you're gonna be if you don't act right in this movie. And the horse acted perfectly. So they have horses, and they see a unicorn, and Gawain is just like, let's kill it and eat it. Dude, that you have regular horses, and you just found a super horse, and now you're like, I'm gonna kill it and eat it. It's bet it tastes good. And then Humphrey's like, I bet it tastes like horse. And Gawain's like, nah, but dude, it's magic. It's gotta taste good. Why do magic horses taste different? You say it tastes better? Not better, just different.
It's like Peking duck and unicorn.
Like listening to the Beatles without earmuffs.
It's like shoveling a rainbow without
without a blowhorn. Also, there's two. So she makes a note about what's it? You must blow upon it. What'll happen? You'll see. So that's the second blow quote, and then the first blow quote. I'm gonna share my screen with you. Because I didn't like film it, I just got a screenshot. Who's going to deal me my blow? As Connery is challenging people to cut his head off. Who's going to deal me my blow?
Should be taken in several ways, I guess.
Yes, I'll get audio of that. Don't worry.
Who wants to deal me my blow? There's a lot of like Yoda speak. He was a Yoda in this movie. Like you,
very much so. Okay, and I will bring that up on that subject. But I'm going to share another image with you. That when she's on the horse here at the end, she's wearing a long cloak and it's draped over the horse's butt, so it makes her look like part of the horse, like she's a centaur or something. And then also the last screenshot I have is the location manager for Wales was Ben Laycock, and I bet he used that at the bar all the time. You know, my name is Ben Laycock, and I Ben Laycock. I don't know. I butchered that, but he he's probably better at it. So.
Oh man, so good.
Oh, okay. Hold on. I'm going to share my screen one more time. This will be the final share of the screen, the final screenshot that I actually took. So that one was the credits. So that was actually the final screenshot. But this one here. So it's their meeting at the end, okay? And Connery is getting ready to cut off Gawain's head. Now, in the background, I'll share all this. So we'll put all this on the social medias. In the background of the shot here is the trunk from which he gets the axes.
Yeah.
And there's just a random little person. I realize I took a screenshot where it kind of looks like a mannequin or something, but it's a random little person that opens the trunk for him and then just like turns and observes the situation.
But you don't see him.
Situation. Initiate.
But no, I caught that too, but like, because when I noticed him, I was like, wait, I didn't see that guy there before.
Exactly.
I rewind it. He's not in the shot initially when Connery approaches the chest.
Wait, really?
He's not there.
Oh my God.
From what I remember, he's not there, and because that's why I kind of was taken back. I was like, wait, who's that behind him? He's just a random guy that opens the chest
No.
for him, I guess.
Yeah, he's there. Okay, so Connery approaches the chest. It cuts back. We don't. All right. Then it cuts to him opening the chest. But I'm not sure if this film was shot in square. Was this 4:3? Is that what that would be? But this version that we have here was in standard definition and standard. You know what I'm talking about? 4:3.
Right.
We went to school for this. How am I failing here? Because this movie sapped everything from me. But so it just cuts to him opening the trunk, and the little person is mostly framed out, except you can see the sleeve. I'll share my screen again, so you can see the sleeve there, just on the edge of the frame, and then there, yeah. So the little person was always there. We just don't see it. We don't see him or her as Connery approaches.
He kind of blends into the scene. I think that's why I didn't notice him, because
he's like furniture. It's like just put a little person there to open the trunk for him.
He didn't even get like an introduction or anything.
But he doesn't even open the trunk for him. Connery does.
He's just there.
Just mind my axes. Make sure no one touches this while I'm away. Can I have some something to drink or a snack? No. Don't touch my refrigerator.
They should have cut to him and played the odd job thing. Ping, ping, ping. Ah, you must choose odd job. He opens the chest. It's like a little odd job. Oh man.
Forgive me, I'm very itchy.
Uh-oh.
Okay, my next note is framing. The framing in this movie is awful.
Yes.
Why not use the unicorn for the journey? You have horses, and you presumably have gear and stuff. Use it as a horse to carry your shit.
I don't know what the point of that was. If it was like some kind of story arc, or I have no idea.
It was Blade Runner.
It's Blade Runner.
And then they come across a magic tent.
Oh, the tent.
Where my next note is pacing, ? Because they go like, I'm so hungry. I haven't eaten in so long. And they're like, you guys left like 10 minutes ago. Like cumulatively, you've been on the road for like an hour and a half. Well, no, maybe a day. Maybe a day at the most. Because you're like, I've got to stop to piss and initiate this suit of armor with my piss.
A pissiate.
I got a note in here that you're really gonna enjoy, and it's gonna just become a callback. We're gonna just constantly call back to it. Okay, so in the magic tent, they're like, I wish I had some food and some wine, and then Humphreys goes, I wish I had some food, and I wish I had some wine, and then all of a sudden, food appears. And Humphrey goes, I wish, and Gawain goes, say no more. Why would you do that? Clearly this tent makes wishes come true. Why would you shut him up?
But the wine appearing, like there was like a glitch. It kind of showed up a little late.
Yeah, right.
I think the original line was to be like, like I wish I had some food. It appears. Then he says, say no more. And then he says, I wish I had some wine too. Then the wine appears.
Yeah.
It's a really weird cut.
Well, I think the implication is supposed to be that he's going, and I wish I had a woman here. Yeah. Because that's when Morgan Le Fay shows up. But also the only justification of him going, say no more, would be going, oh, I thought you were going to wish for a bunch of people to come in here and murder us. Or an asteroid to hit the tent. And you're like, why would I wish for that? I wanted food and wine. I don't know, escalation?
The one line that gets me in this, that made me like laugh out loud, I don't know why, was when they cut to them, they're all full. And And he says something along the lines of like, "This table has done me in," or something. Do you remember that?
Yes,
He's
yes.
Like, what did the table do? I don't understand this. This table has done me in, and he's just like laying on the table, just full.
My favorite, I didn't write it down verbatim, but my favorite line in that scene is after they've eaten, she goes like, "Okay, you can spend the night here," and he goes, "But where will I meet? Where will I send Humphrey to meet in the morning?" And it's like, oh, he doesn't get to join in on the three-way. Sorry, Humphrey. It's just me and this lady tonight. She's like, no, I was looking to get to have a three-way with you. No need for you, Humphrey. Away with you.
Why don't you go outside and wish for more wine? We'll be here.
Yeah, wish for someone else. You can't fuck her. And then of course comes the "you must blow upon it." What will happen? You'll see. And then a rainbow flashes 3 times, and then Darth Vader shows up.
Played by, here's our first Bond connection, played by Douglas Wilmer. If you don't know that name, he's the man
in Octopussy. Oh my god!
Where he sits next to him during the auction.
I literally just watched Octopussy at work yesterday. Well, I didn't really watch it. You know what I mean? I had it on in the background as I was working. But I love his expressions. This was his final role. He did this after Octopussy. Oh my god. Oh my god.
That's so weird to think this is after Octopussy.
He was in Revenge of the Pink Panther. Wow. I love it when somebody bids like $400,000 on the egg and he's surprised, and then the camera pans out and it's Bond, and he's just the look of like, oh no, on it, like the British reservation to it all. Oh, it's so good.
I just love the expression he gets when like they look at the pamphlet and it says, property of a lady, and Roger Moore sees that I forget the character's name. Christina Wayborn. She walks in like, oh look, there's a lady.
There's a lady. There's like 100 women in this room. Like,
there's one.
I love that. And he so clearly like puts the egg in what? Okay, first of all, we're gonna talk Octopussy for a minute, folks. First of all, if you're inspecting something, they would just bring it close. They would just let you look at it. They would not let you hold it and smear your dirty fingers all over it.
Dirty Roger Moore.
Let alone tuck it into your lap. Now, and also, the second point being, I know the implication is that he switches it out with the fake egg, but all he does is just move the egg under the book. There's no switching there. It's literally, if you watch it, he just goes, that's it. Just, it's just a swoop.
It's magic. It was tucked in his sleeve.
Yeah, he just seamlessly switched out Fabergé eggs. Oh, I love Octopussy.
And then he's
such a good
movie.
movie.
A flick of his wand, it turns to a bouquet of flowers for the lady.
And also one of my favorite parts of that as well is when the shot pulls out to reveal it was Bond that bid on the egg. His hand is like this. Like, how would you know that Bond was bidding? This is not a video podcast, so his hand is barely above his face. Like, that's not how you raise a hand at an auction. Like, you at least lift. You let them notice.
Usually they have the little ping pong
paddle
paddles.
Yeah, Louis Jordan is using the paddle to raise, and because Bond is at the main table, he just gets to. Oh no, I'm sorry, I was scratching my nose. I wasn't bidding. Damn it, I scratched my nose twice, and I ended up buying half of the auction. I didn't mean to. I had a cold that day. Knew I shouldn't have gone. Well, thank you for that delightful bit of trivia.
Yes.
That was great. Speaking of actors that I didn't recognize, Ronald Lacey. I did not recognize him. He is he is Arnold Toht in Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yep.
He is the Nazi. Now, what did I write here for him? Okay. My note is Cushing as Frollo with henchmen, because I didn't have the Wikipedia here to look him up, and I forgot who he was. I couldn't tell who he was. So Cushing as Frollo with henchmen, Wallace Shawn, Elton John, Putin, Elon Musk. Wallace Shawn, Elton John, Putin, Elon Musk. Wallace Shawn, Elton John, Putin, and Elon Musk. Hey. That's my rhyme for you folks.
Well, wait, did we skip over the Black Knight battle?
Oh, we skipped a lot. Okay, so all right, we're at the Black Knight battle. Darth Vader. He is Darth Vader. He's breathing like Darth Vader.
He's speaking,
and he's
like
also he sounds exactly like James Earl Jones, like through the filter. And he doesn't sound as good as James Earl Jones, but it's when you hear it.
I love the every hit. That weird phase.
Well, clearly it was an old man.
But why did his helmet make him sound like that?
It's a mechanical helmet. Robotics in there, dude.
Why?
It was Darth Vader. It's 1984. Star Wars had just ended. You got to cash in on some of that Star Wars.
Which would have been, I wish they did cast Mark Hamill, because they could have had like a look to the camera like, not again. And like,
well,
give us that.
Speaking of Mark Hamill, there is okay, so after he fights the Black Knight, I'm going to jump ahead again. He's brought to his widow, the Black Knight's widow. He is full on wearing Luke Skywalker, like farm boy and robes.
Yeah.
Like, except it's tighter. And also the He-Man hair, when it gets dirtied up, looks like William Catt, who was gonna play Luke Skywalker.
Ooh.
Can't get Mark Hamill. Can't get discount Mark Hamill. Get discount Mark Hamill. So, sorry, Miles O'Keefe. You seem like a cool dude, and I'm sorry that you were dubbed this whole time. I got to hear what your real voice sounded like on the day.
Yeah, now I'm curious.
Why did they deem yours unusable? Were you doing a bad British accent?
I wonder.
Did they make you do a bad British accent?
Which that brings me. We'll probably talk about when this comes up, but now that I'm thinking about it, we can cut it if we have to.
Miles.
Is it true that the actor who played Goldfinger was dubbed?
Yes, Gerd Frobe.
Because
yes, was dubbed.
someone mentioned. I think it was on the James Bonding podcast, and when I heard that, I went to go look for like an interview of him. He sounds just like that. So like,
it's crazy.
Did he dub himself?
No, but he dubbed himself in the German version.
That's so interesting.
Isn't that crazy?
Because like you hear him talking like a normal voice, I'm like, that sounds like Or Goldfinger to me.
Yeah.
So why did they make but now it's like when I see clips, I look for that, do you expect me to talk? No, Mr. Bond, I expect to die. I'm like, that's dubbed? It didn't look dubbed to me. Like that was a very good dubbing, I think.
I think there's one trailer that has that scene, and it's the original Gerd Frobe voice.
Oh, I got to look that up.
Yeah.
But anyways, back to this movie.
Yeah, that where are we at? Okay.
I think we're just talking about movies we'd rather be watching right now.
Yeah. So while he's fighting Darth Vader, horse drag. He gets dragged by a horse. He goes, "My hand is caught." No, just let go of the rope. But they're really dragging a dude there. And he really gets dragged into a log and takes some damage. Speaking of discount Mark Hamill, my next note is Gawain is discount Cary Elwes. Or is he proto Cary Elwes? I only just recently watched Princess Bride, so
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you said that. You were like,
can you see the connections between, like, maybe Carrie Elwes was given this movie and said do that, but like if it was good.
oh yeah, I could see. Yeah, there's Princess Bride in here. There's Monty Python. Like, there's a lot of
Yeah.
like weird. It's like a Wish.com version of a lot of these films. It's like crazy.
Oh, that's good.
Like,
I
like,
wish
like,
that
like, Dylan, do you think that they were going for like comedy here at any point?
in some scenes, the how do I initiate a pissy that that was definitely a comedy scene. There were some scenes that were definitely the meeting of Vosper, meeting him, that was good because Vosper's he just keeps stealing his ring and giving it back to him. I like that. He's like, "Well, you're not going anywhere without this ring." He's like, "Wait, where'd you get that?" He's like, "Ha ha!" And then the scene ends. He's like, "Well, you're not going anywhere without this ring."
He does that for 5 miles.
So yeah, there's little bits of humor in there for sure.
Yeah,
But-
just like I think that's my biggest thing watching this film. Like, I was really trying to grasp what the tone was
The intention.
and the intention. It's just like really, we're kind of jumping ahead here, but like just
Jump around.
performance wise, just like I'm shocked that Connery said yes to this. That was the script different at first? Did he bother even reading the script? Did he say, oh, why not? I'm going to be making money on a new Bond film anyways, so I don't need to do this.
Well, I'm not gonna lie, his dialogue is good.
That
may have been why he said yes to it. He's got the best dialogue in the film.
Yeah, I think every time he's on screen, I was like, all right, this is really fun. Even that like little scene of him looking into the snow globe like Wizard of Oz and blowing into it, even that was like...
That was fun, where he turns Morgan Le Fay into a frog.
Yeah, I
like that.
So funny. But like, it does, cool to see him like a little bit of a villain here, a little bit like a nice evil laugh at the end here, and it's just like ha 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 ha.
Yes. You want to vamp for a second? I got a Connor P.
You got a Connor P? Sure.
I got a Connor P.
Oh, Connor P.
Go ahead and talk.
All right. Hey, audience, just us right now. So yeah, man, the Connery is interesting in this film. Just the intensity. We'll talk about when Dylan comes back, but it's more like you could tell he was having fun with it. He was, the highlight of the film for the most part. But man, you got to wonder if this was like a favor, if he was just... I don't think, again, he's doing a James Bond film in the middle of this. Not an official James Bond film, but, it's still, something that you should be working hard on. But if you're, like, in between scenes, putting on this Green Knight outfit and shooting this film, that was not well received at all. I have not seen one positive review on this. 1 star all around. There's not even a Rotten Tomato score on it, for God's sakes. It's an audience score of like 20%. But man, it's just like, it's an interesting choice that he made doing this film, man. I have no idea. I wish he was still around, man. If we could, if Connery Curious would make it big and we had the opportunity to interview Connery, I just want to hear what he had to say about this. If he had any regrets, like we talk about this podcast being like very educational for us, beyond Bond, but just insane in the membrane.
We're back. I had a Connor P.
Connor P.
A little bite of a no-bake cookie.
Ooh.
All right, we're back into it. Puddle fight noises while he's fighting Darth Vader. Man, those puddle noises. Just slurping and sloshing the whole time.
I didn't even know it was raining.
I did a podcast last night with my sister, and we I forgot how we got on the subject, but we made some theory that soup got its name because somebody was eating it and making that slurping sound, and somebody was getting really annoyed with that person, but they couldn't make that sound, and they went, "Hey, stop making that sound!" And they go, "What sound?" "That soup sound. Soup. Soup. That sound. Stop making it." Like the way some people can't roll their R's, this person couldn't go.
That's a Jerry Seinfeld joke. What's the deal with soap?
Why is it called that? It's not very super. It's pretty plain.
Like,
Water, ingredients.
you're out there, you're at the restaurant, and they say super salad. I'm like, what's so super about it? Is it the croutons? Is it the dressing? I don't understand. What's so super about it?
This was a pretty plain salad, I gotta admit.
Not super at all.
Yeah, maybe I had the secret identity salad. Mild-mannered salad.
The Kryptonian salad.
Oh, I knew it. They served me mild dressing with it. These jokes are evergreen.
Oh, you know what else is evergreen? Connery's armor.
My dick. I thought that's what you were like about to do. I don't know why.
You think the Green Knight's penis looked like a cucumber in this movie?
Playing hide the zucchini.
I am the zucchini.
That line is in Age of Ultron.
Is it?
Yes, at the final action scene while the city is rising
Iron
up
Man
in the
says
air.
that, right?
Yeah, Hulk is like climbing up the city with Natasha on his back, and they've had romantic chemistry earlier in the film. So Iron Man comments, while Bruce is the Hulk, Iron Man comments, "Are you guys done playing hide the zucchini?"
Hide the zucchini, hide the pickle.
Wait, are you asking me if that's the line, or are we
Is that the
implying
line?
the Hulk? The line is hide the zucchini.
Oh, I thought it was pickle for some reason.
Well, either way, Joss Whedon, what does that say about you?
I like to rewatch that. I haven't seen that in a while.
What if Scarlett Johansson was fucked by the Hulk? We should be like, wouldn't that be crazy and fucking hot? And they're like, no, Joss, that would be weird. Like, yeah, that'd be weird. And then he just makes it one line of dialogue in his movie. Make RDJ say it. He'd say it. He'd think it was funny. And then RDJ is just weird enough, like because he made fucking Doolittle. He made that movie. Like he put most of his money into making that movie. Like not most of his money, but you know what I mean. Like most of the money in that movie was his, I believe. And it has like. Doesn't he like pull bagpipes out of a dragon's ass in that movie? So he probably got the script and he's like, "Hey, Joss, I love this line about why is he George Lucas? Well, I love this line about hide the zucchini. That's a good one."
So here's the deal. Here, we're just going to take the zucchini, and we're going to make it a sexual innuendo. You know,
we're gonna take the zucchini, and we're gonna give
Barack
it to
is
people.
here, Mr. President. How are you?
I'm pretty well. I've hit a zucchini, and you'll never know where I hit it.
Iron Man has hit the zucchini.
Yep. It's okay, folks. Disaster is averted. Iron Man has come to the rescue, and the zucchini is hidden.
Mission accomplished.
It was very easy to find the zucchini where Obama had hid it. It wasn't very difficult. He didn't think. He thought I would not be smart enough to find his zucchini.
The Democrats don't want you to know about the zucchini.
We found the zucchini. We have it. We're gonna hide it in a far more hideable place. For a zucchini, you wouldn't know where it was. You're not gonna know where to look for it. This is tired.
And not the zucchini's just so delicious.
The most delicious zucchini.
The best vegetable.
We definitely didn't find. We definitely didn't not find Obama zucchini and replace it with our own zucchini, much smaller, whiter zucchini.
Barack Obama has yet to come out and show his zucchini. There is no proof.
Exactly. No proof he even has one. He says he hit it. He says he hit it, but we don't know.
I know where that zucchini is. I know it's not there.
And Sean Connery's over here hiding zucchinis left and right.
Anyway, sort of.
This came out of something. Anyway.
Anyway, how about where were we? Zucchinis, his pickle.
Okay, so he fatally wounds the Guardian Darth Vader, the Guardian of Leah Ness. All right, okay, hold on. All right, so that's a callback to our last film. We're going to find ways, like I said before, we're going to find ways that each of these films connect to each other in this Connery universe. So we've had sword fights in all three. I think, was there a sword fight in Man Who Would Be King?
Yeah, there was.
When?
I think there was there's a few towards the end, I feel. Like that last chase sort of battle there.
A Hard Day's, which references A Hard
The
Day's
Hard Day's Night.
Which brings back Wilford Bramble.
And then I'm trying to think. I feel like that's
well, there's horses in all three.
And there's horses in all three. That's why the main
that's what ties them all together. Horses and Bond actors.
Yeah. And kings. King stories, just insanity.
Stories of kings. They both have both of these have had King Arthur.
Which again is so weird that I didn't even. Did they actually call him King Arthur in the film?
No, not at all.
Because that's the thing. I from all the credits I looked, it's always just called the King. He doesn't even look like. I mean, do we have a point of reference of what King Arthur looked like? I always assume he just looks like Sean Connery, but just an interesting. I just thought he was a generic king.
Well, if we put these films in chronological order. So let's go backwards. We got First Night, where he is King Arthur. Sean Connery plays King Arthur.
Yeah.
And then in this one, he's the Green Knight. So he's not yet a king. But if we go back, he is the man who would be king.
Whoa. You just blew my mind.
Yeah. So he would be king eventually. What was the connection that I lost it now. Anyway, so he mortally wounds the Guardian, Darth Vader. And he's like, you must... Oh, Leah Ness! That's the connection to the last movie. So in the last movie, Leah Ness is a major, town in this story. And in this film, Leah Ness is in First Night, excuse me, Leah Ness is the town which Arthur swears he will protect.
Right.
In this movie, sort of the Valiant, Leah Ness is a fictional, or not a fictional, like a metaphysical realm or something. It's a fantasy city. It doesn't exist apparently, or it does. I don't know. But the Guardian Garth Vader says, you must take me back to my city to die. And they're like, to Leah Ness? Yeah, I said that I was defending Leah Ness. And I attacked you randomly. I really didn't have to do that. We could have talked. You gave me an opportunity to talk to you. But anyway, yeah, he does. Gawain gives him, he's like, let's talk. And he's like, no, I'll kill you. So they take him back. They saddle him up on their horse and they take him back, and then they ride through the fog, and Humphrey passes out on his horse, or falls asleep while riding, and they get separated. And Gawain, is yelling out, Humphrey, Humphrey, and trying to find him, and then all of a sudden, the fog just dissipates and they find each other. It's very anticlimactic, and it happens within 30 seconds.
Which why? Like, another thing in my head while watching this, I was like, because I remember your like issue with speaking of Man Would Be King, your first rental of it wasn't the first film. So when I was watching this, I'm like,
oh no, it was the first
the
hour,
first
and
hour.
13 minutes, and they didn't say that there was a second disc or that the second half of the movie was on the other side, and then I flipped the disc over thinking it might have been, and it was just a blank. It's like we're trying to read a blank thing. It's trying to read the front of a disc. It doesn't exist. So I had to get another DVD copy, and that one had the backside. So I'm sorry, continue.
But yeah, so yeah, watching this, I was like, is this like a weird version of the movie I've rented here? Is it like just not finished? I'm like, is this really how they cut the movie? It just seems like I was like, I feel like there was supposed to be something else here, but
yeah, the pacing is weird.
Yeah.
And the editing is weird, and the music editing is weird.
yeah,
The music editing is very weird. Like the wrong pieces play at the wrong times, and then they just drop out and come in at random times, and it's weird music editing.
this was not proofed after an edit.
No,
Just-
they didn't give this a polish at all. Okay. Guardian is a dick. That's my next note. They get him to the city. He's like, all right, we brought you back to your city to die with your people. And then the Guardian wakes up. And he's like, they tried to kill me. Get him. I'm like, no, you did that, asshole. You like wandered brazenly into a fight and they won. So
And then it gets
they-
insane. This
Yeah.
is where I was like, literally my mouth dropped because of everything that was happening so fast.
Take it over.
So I don't have it in front of me, but like then we meet our our love interest,
Lynette.
Lynette.
Lynette. Which really bothered me. Just fucking call her Lynette, but it's
Yeah.
spelled Linet.
Yeah.
Lynette. Line T.
Yeah, so we meet her in this very, very quick scene of her handing this ring that if you hide it, you will become invisible.
If you cover it with your hands,
Yeah,
or like your palm, like could you just cover it with one hand, like in your palm?
well, that's the thing. 'Cause
Could you just put it in your pocket?
there were so many times where like I saw him clearly clenching it in his fist, and he wasn't invisible. So I'm like,
Yeah.
do you need to have both hands?
Well, on that note, one of my favorite things that happens in media, when he becomes visible again, he spends time touching himself. Oh my God, I'm visible again, and it like does it for like 12 seconds. Like cut away.
And I love
we get it,
the attempted,
but also you're not intangible. You're just invisible. You're not a ghost. And they use that too, where she's being held by the guards, and then she like grasps the stone, and then the guards like their hands like phase through her. Like she doesn't become intangible; she just becomes invisible. But it doesn't say that. I don't know. They never specify what it is. But I love that when a character like finds himself visible again, and it's me, and they're touching themselves.
Yeah, well, I figured because then you have that really awkward scene of like her like come with me, come, and like she's like looking back, and like then you realize I'm like, oh, he's invisible. He's walking around invisible. 'Cause I thought at first that he just teleported out of there. Like no, he's just invisible. And I thought they would like have some clever thing of like, something knocking over. Or whatever,
nothing.
but like
not in the budget.
like when he sits in a chair, maybe the chair like moves back a little bit, but like no, there was no like attempted thing. Well, and that's
not
like
in the budget. They couldn't put shoestring. They couldn't put fishing line on a statue or something.
yeah, Lynette is looking
him bump
up
into
for some reason, like come, like
Yeah.
did he grow 6 feet tall all of a sudden? Like why is he just
So everyone's chasing him, and he's having his own hard day's night moment.
Yeah.
And she saves him from it by turning him invisible and getting him out of there. And that is Lynette, our
very
one lady in the movie.
well, two ladies if you count the woman in the tent, but
Oh, and the lady of Leoness. So that she is the widow of the Guardian, and they bring
Oh, is that the old one with the black dress?
the
weird
headdress
head
and
thing?
whatnot. It looks like a Twi'lek.
She scared the shit out of me.
Yes,
The way-
but also she was hilarious.
But the way they cut to her, there's no warning. It just cuts to the scene. And
Yes,
she's talking.
yes.
And I'm like, there's no like quick introduction, like maybe a small pan or something. It just boom, establishing shot of
Yeah.
her face.
The editing in this movie is nuts,
It's
man.
insane. Like I think we should recut this and see if we can like make it work better.
We'd have to re-Foley the whole movie to make it work. We really would. Like to
Yeah.
re-edit this, we would have to mute the whole thing and re-Foley the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know what? That'd be an interesting project. Get some voice, get some people do our best voice acting and Foley the thing.
I think we can do it.
And then put in a decent score. We could do it.
I think so. I think
We have the skills.
Connery, curious Connerys. If you guys are interested in this, let us know. Hit us up in the comments here, where we can make this a special like event for y'all. You know,
Group project maybe.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, maybe you as the curious Connerys out there can contribute, can curiously contribute.
Ooh.
But also, if you guys watch this movie and think that this is a pipe dream task, then just tell us that too. Be like, yeah, this is not a salvageable. Like you're trying to make, an apple crisp out of a apple tree that was struck by lightning.
2 Pop-Tarts, 2 slots in the toaster. That's a call back to off air. Sorry. But yeah, I think that could be interesting. I do like that. I'm interested in that. I will gladly help record vocals for the Green Knight.
Yeah.
Like, that'd be-
You want to be Connery?
I
will be Gawain.
There we go. Maybe we could do a better fucking voiceover, because like now.
Oh my God, we should do it like in a different language.
First, we must learn a new language, and then we will.
Well,
shoot this.
what we'll do is we'll just run the script through a translator,
Ooh.
and then we'll run it back again, and that's the dialogue we'll record.
Oh my God.
Well, yeah, we'll do that. What's the Star Wars? What's the Revenge of the Sith? Translate. What is it? Oh, Backstroke of the West. That's what it's called.
Oh
Have you ever seen this?
no.
I'm just gonna copy the link and send it to you. Riveting podcasting. So basically, somebody took the dialogue to game time started. Basically, they just ran it through Mandarin translator and then back through English,
Really?
and that's what it became. So Backstroke of the West.
Oh man, I gotta watch that.
Anyway, so yeah, we should do something like that, and that's the dialogue we'll record. Anyway, forgive me, that was a long walk to a bar that was closed. So I really liked the widow because she was like, "No man will ever be as good as my husband," and Lynette's like, "But what about the dude that killed him? He's clearly like bested him in battle, so he could probably do the job." She's like, "Nah, no man will ever replace my husband." And then when he shows up, she's like, "Oh my God, he's so hot. Yep, it'll be him. My husband beat me since day one. I hated him." Instantly, just 180s. I loved it. My next note is key to my dick, which is so that's when he and Lynette hook up for the first time.
I wonder if that was a joke either stolen or stolen from this movie to this film of Robin Hood Men in Tights.
I haven't seen that movie, so we'll find out.
You've never seen Men?
Oh, wait, oh! I'm sorry. I was thinking Prince of Thieves. I'm sorry. I haven't seen Prince of Thieves. I've seen Men in Tights.
Whew.
Yes, I have.
But
seen
yeah,
Men in Tights.
that chastity belt scene, it's just
Yes.
so I wonder if that was a thing back in the day, or did they parody
I
this?
I liked it as a callback to itself, because I forget what the setup is. But she's like, "How will we open this?" And he holds up
The key.
the key to his junk.
Oh man.
I will not listen. My next one is "I will not listen to you," in quotes. I don't remember what that is.
That's after.
I don't know. Well, I'll have to come back to that. Luke Skywalker outfit is my next note.
Yep. Very Luke Skywalker. You could tell that's where the big inspiration came from this film.
Which immediately hot for Gawain. My next note is I hate Gawain and everyone else. Okay, so Connery is in, like, he comes in at, you know what? I'm just going to pull it up. I'm just going to skim through the movie. Connery comes in at the 5-minute mark. That's when the green light shows up and the Green Knight comes in. And he ducks out at roughly 15 minutes in. He ducks out. Now he shows up again at the 40-minute mark. So we're very Connery sparse here. And my note here is 40 minutes. I'm sorry. Not even 40. My note is 40 minutes in, I miss Connery. And then he shows up at 45. Thank God for Connery. All right. So Lynette and Gawain are instantly in love, and he says, "I will always love you." And they literally just met, and I know this is fantasy, but even some things can't be believed.
That was insane. I said that too. I was like, wait a minute. Didn't it just mate?
So on to page 2 of my notes. My next note is they're being chased back. They're trying to escape the city, and they're being chased back into it or something. And they run into a man carrying a tray of oranges, and my next note is oranges equal danger. So clearly they are pulling from the best, the Godfather. That is, and because anytime you see oranges in that movie, danger's coming.
Always.
So clearly they're pulling from that. Then Gawain swings from a chandelier uselessly. He's in he's going like up a swirling spiral staircase tower, and the chandelier is in the middle of that, and he jumps on the chandelier to like swing across to the other side of the steps, which he could have run down to, and then he doesn't jump off the chandelier, and it swings back, and then he has to wait till it swings back again to jump to this area he could have just run to 4 times over. Like,
there's so
ridiculous.
Much unnecessary action, like just long-winded fight scenes that, like, in a lot of cases are like one shot that are just like one
sloppy.
Yeah, just one too many, like, seconds over. It's just like,
and with those excessive and unnecessary action scenes come excessive and unnecessary one-liners. I wrote down some of my favorite one-liners here. Here's 2 of them. Goodbye. That was it. He like closes the door, goes goodbye.
Goodbye.
And that was one of his one-liners. And then the next one is another one. So clearly DJ Khaled was influenced by this movie.
Another one. And another one.
And then my next note is I hate this movie.
I think this is where I started to like really start to crumble myself. I was like, okay, how much longer? Which I think might be a where this podcast is going. How much longer?
Well, I'm happy to keep talking.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
just like to make sure I've got all my sources correctly. I'm still trying to figure out what this "I will not listen to you" note is. But I don't hate this movie, but that was the note I felt compelled to write at that moment in time. Was that I hate this movie, but I actually liked it.
It was. It's like it had these fun moments. I think what keeps you in there for me, anyways, was just like Connery's got to show back up soon.
Yes,
So
that's really the hook.
Yeah, because I want to see like where that's going to go, what's going to happen. Like, is there some kind of life lesson here that we're learning? Is like what is going to happen here?
It's that poem, man. That's the life lesson.
Yeah,
That's. I readjust my mic here. Forget the squeaks. Okay, I'm going back to the plot here. Gawain falls in love with Lynette and attempts to escape the city. When held by the guards, Lynette quickly gives her ring to Gawain. Abruptly appearing in an empty field, he is told by the Green Knight that the game he accepted as a challenge has rules. Rules which have been broken by meeting Lynette at the wrong time and taking her ring. Encountering a group of monks, Gawain asks Vosper, a friar and former thief, for his help with the Green Knight's riddle. Vosper tells Gawain to see the sage at the Rock of Wisdom. So yeah, 45 minutes in. Thank God for Connery.
Oh yeah.
Oh, she runs up to a dude and says, "Father, please." The emperor.
Oh yeah.
Emperor father. Just going through my notes. Okay, yeah, Brian Coburn plays Vosper, not John Rhys Davies. So yeah, Gawain goes to the sage's den, if you will. I'm just gonna raise my desk here a little bit. Where he promptly abuses a little person by grabbing their ear and threatening them with more abuse. My next note is Sage with a heart. I loved the Sage.
Oh yeah, he was cool.
Might have been my favorite character in the movie.
Oh yeah, very whimsical.
Best actor too.
Yeah, honestly, like that was like give me more of him. Like where is this?
He's only in
guy?
one scene.
Yeah, I love that kind of like. I got what they were trying to do here. Just that shot of like him talking, and we get to zoom in, and the lights go out behind him, but it's him turning around at the camera.
Yes.
It's like
and I have a note. Remember the game. Remember the game.
Remember the game.
Remember the, and he just keeps repeating it. Yes, as the lights go out. And my next note in that is, so before he can be transported back to the realm, because for some reason he's been transported out. This movie is a fucking pipe dream, dude. So my next note is Darth Vader Dagobah Cave. Remember the game. Remember the game. Your weapons, you will not need them. And he goes into a cave, and then he enters a tomb where from the coffin rises the Black Guardian Knight, Darth Vader. He hits him once with his sword, and it collapses. I fully expected to see a shot where the helmet had hit Gawain's head in it, and it was like a cheap fucking like prop, you know?
Yeah, man, it's like they're really Star Wars.
Pull from what works.
Star Wars like influenced a lot. It's like, again, her Bond connection. Moonraker was that. Moonraker was like
they were gonna do For Your Eyes Only.
Yeah.
And then Star Wars was successful that same year, so there's like, all right,
so let's put James Bond in space, like just insane
for 20 minutes.
But yeah, just it's crazy to see. Like now we're seeing this trivia of like Mark Hamill was. Thank God he didn't do this, because he probably would have quit. He'd be like, I've done this already. Like this.
Well, Mark Hamill comes to a point in his career where he's doing stuff like this too. So.
True, but I don't know. It's interesting, man. It's.
Should we do a season of Hungry for Hamill?
Ooh.
Or Hungry for a Hamill sandwich?
Ooh, yes. Hamill sandwiches.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see Mark Hamill in this. I'd like to see a deepfake of him in this and a deepfake of Connery in Moonraker.
Ooh, man, imagine that. That'd be insane. Like Connery doing Moore films. Holy shit, like Roger Moore films.
Yeah, I mean, if the technology is there, so let's use it for real entertainment purposes. Can we do that?
That'll be our next project. Is trying to
so can somebody put Tom Selleck as Indiana Jones? Can we see what it was? We've got enough dialogue of Tom Selleck to do this now.
Yeah.
Like, you see all these articles about how AI art is a bad thing, but like, can we use it for? Okay, let's not use it to create new art that people would have created anyway and robbed of the opportunity to do so. Let's use it. So another shout out to Matt Gorley, the king of podcasting. But I love he and Paul Rust have the heaven is a screening room theory where you see all the alternate versions of movies. You see David Lynch's Return of the Jedi, that's what we should be using AI for.
Yeah.
Take scenes in movies where it's relatively silent, or you can re-Foley the whole thing and deepfake somebody's face and voice into that so that we can finally go, yeah, what would James Brolin as Bond have been like?
Right.
Yeah,
I think of and in recent news, I mean, this episode's gonna be come out a long time after this has happened, but the announcement of Henry Cavill is not going to be playing Superman anymore after the whole James Gunn reign. Now,
I wanted to send you a video earlier about somebody made a perfect analogy of. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry,
but this gives me opportunity to maybe have Cavill as Bond, because I did want that. And
have you seen Man from U.N.C.L.E.?
I heard
he's Bond.
Is pretty Bondy.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was apparently he was up there with Craig.
He was second.
Yeah, so
Craig got it. And
so I mean, he's 39 right now, so there's still a chance. I say
he's only 39.
Yeah, Timothy Dalton him if you have to do 2 films.
Yeah,
just something.
I think I've said this before. I think we should just do from now on one-off experimental films. Have fun with it. I want one where Ian Glenn from Game of Thrones, Jorah Mormont.
Yes.
I want one where he plays Bond, and it leans towards Roger Moore. And I've said this before. I've said that maybe I've said this to you, but I've definitely said this a lot. Maybe to myself, but I've already got a perfect line for that movie, or a setup for it, and he's meeting Ian Glenn as Bond is meeting a contact, and the contact is killed at the last minute, knife to the back or whatever, and it's going to be a campy Roger Moore one, made in 2025 or whatever, and he's dying, and he goes, Bond, get to my contact in the West. You must get to Gesundheit. Find Gesundheit. And then he dies. And when Bond finally meets the character, his contact, Gesundheit, a German contact, Mr. Gesundheit, and he enters the room, and it's a woman, and he goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, I was looking for a Mr. Gesundheit," and she goes, "You found her," and he goes, "Excuse me."
There's still a chance, man. There's still a chance. Let's do this, man. I want Ian Glenn as Bond.
Babs, if you're listening. and that way we can have all the fan casting that people want. You know what I mean? We can have Idris Elba. Put Idris Elba in Casino Royale, but don't change the color of Daniel Craig's hands or arms. Like just put Idris Elba's face on it, but it's just white Daniel Craig's arms.
Oh man. Anyways,
okay.
Let's speed through the rest of this plot so we can get to movies that we do want to watch.
Okay, so they where am I at? Oranges equal danger. Chandelier swing was useless. Okay, Connery comes back. Oh, abusive little person. Say Dagobah cave. Okay, my next note. Music is weird, but not bad. But the music editing is awful. I said that already. Okay. I like when he finds Lynette that she's old, and they do a Wolfman fade on her back to young, like a Wolfman transformation fade. That was nice. Cushing as Frollo with henchmen Wallace Shawn, Elton John, Putin, Elon Musk. Hey. Even the evil music is in a major key. So here's where I start referring to Gawain as just G. I started calling him G because I didn't want to keep writing it. So G and his whole crew are captured and thrown into a jail cell, and they have to like clean helmets or something. And when they come in, they all get back to clean. When the guards come in, the crew all gets back to cleaning helmets, and the guard gives them a mean look, and Gawain like, spits on the helmet and keeps cleaning. But Gawain can't even fucking spit right. Like if you watch it, he's like he spits, but like spit doesn't leave his mouth. Like, and you see spit come out, but it just like lands on his lower lip. Like it's so weird.
It's a nice
So
dry
yeah, that was
spit.
that was my next note. G can't even spit right. And then he's like fighting. He's having a sword fight in a corral or something for some reason, and Wallace Shawn, Elton John, Putin, Elon Musk goes, "Hey, you with the fancy boots!" And then when you see his boots, they're just like plain cotton, like everyone else's. Just plain brown boots. They're like a little bit longer than everyone else's, but I don't think that makes them fancy.
Oh, you think you're so fancy with your longer cut boots?
They're like a quarter inch longer than yours, but okay. Oh, you can go deeper into the mud. I didn't write this down, but I just remembered it. While he's fighting Darth Vader in the mud, they're fighting. For some reason, they both throw down their swords and fight with daggers for some reason. Like, but it's a fight. You don't need honor in a fight. Anyway.
And what's honorable about a dagger? It just
just kill him. He's trying to kill you. Just kill him. Anyway. But then the Darth Vader picks up the sword. Okay, so they're knife fighting in the mud, and they're like rolling around in the mud, and it's really uncomfortable to watch because you're like, they're just getting this muddy water inside their suits. It's gross. Anyway, so then Darth Vader picks up the sword, and Gawain goes, "That was dirty." or no, that's just dirty. Like now you're fighting dirty, but like you're rolling around in the mud, so you're fighting dirty too.
That's like a Roger Moore line.
Yeah, dude, he's got all the quips in this movie. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
The best quip.
Goodbye.
Another one.
That's probably the merch they had, where this T-shirt that said "another one" or "goodbye."
So I've got another quote in here, but it's going to take a second to get to it. Wanted to compare that sword fight because he fights Wallace Shawn, Elton John, Putin, Elon Musk. I'm just going to call him that every time now. I could easily just call him Ronald Lacey, but no. Wallace Shawn, Elton John, Putin, Elon Musk. I'm just going to make sure I'm still recording. Still recording. Excellent.
Good.
So I just wanted to compare that sword fight to Richard Gere masterfully sword fighting in First Night. Like you could tell, like that's a master actor who took sword fighting lessons and like really honed in on the craft, and it shows in the film. It's fantastic, and this is just like the sloppiest shit.
It's like watching two kids fight with pool noodles. It's so rough. I could have did a better job.
And the editing is bad too. It doesn't like hold on anything very well, and it just keeps cutting away to people's faces. And then it ends very much like Anakin Skywalker, where he's got 2 swords and he's about to cut off Wallace Shawn, Elton John, putting on his Musk's head.
Do it.
Do it. Okay, so from there, what else we got? So then we find out that John Rhys Davies is playing Ronald Lacey's father.
They look like the same age.
For context, Ronald Lacey was born 1935. September 28th, 1935. John Rhys Davies was born, you ready for this? May 5th. Take a guess.
May 5th, 1936.
1944.
What?
He was 9 years younger than the actor playing his son. What was this?
And it shows.
Yeah, it should have been another old man.
Yeah.
And his scar is awful.
Oh, yeah, the scar. Did he have it in that first scene?
At the dinner, yeah. That's the first time we see him. He's got this horrible, like,
No, they're not.
eye
They're not
prosthetic.
like he has like that little like castle model, and he's like leave me alone, I'm playing. That's where you first see him.
I don't know. Because he's far away. I couldn't really
I
tell.
don't know, but he comes in close, and it didn't look like he had a scar in that scene. So when I first saw him up close with the scar, I'm like, oh, what happened to him?
And it looks like putty just got stretched across his eye.
Yeah, just like that was the dry spit that G put on him.
Also, John Rhys Davies waves a fish at Peter Cushing.
Legendary.
The
The man who blew up Alderaan is getting fish to the face.
Look, a fish. Vosper hides in the sand.
Good tactic.
And he's clearly just like waist deep in sand, and guards come in and like, it's just rats.
Speaking of rats, can we have a shout out to the dog actors in this movie? There's that one group of dogs that we see in the beginning of the movie.
Yes,
but also,
and never again.
No, we see them around this scene too, in this castle. I'm like, these dogs just travel. Because they were in the other castle in the beginning of the movie. And then it's the same group of dogs. And just kind of like, it was like the pigeon double take. It was
oh my God. I didn't notice that at all. I'll have to go back and look for these dogs.
It's the same dogs. I'm like, why are they there?
Maybe they only had like, we've got 3 breeds. That's it. That's all there is in this country.
Right, bring your dogs to work today.
They just follow. They've been following G the whole time. I like how John Rhys Davies picks up an apple with his axe. That was pretty dope. Here's the next witty one-liner. So they're torturing Gawain by having him on a stretcher, and they give it one pull, and it's not even like a pull. They crank the wheel once, and it's just like, okay, that you just like fix my back a little bit. Cool, thanks. It's like not any physical discomfort at all. And then they're like, oh, your father's here. He wants you. And he's like, okay, we will stop this torture. We'll resume it another day. Keep him fresh. And then when they rescue Gawain, they're like, how are you feeling? He goes, a little taller or a bit taller. Like, what? If anything, they just like, help your sore shoulder.
Stretch out your spine a little bit.
Yeah, thank you. I've been meaning to do yoga. Did he have a boner? Is that what he meant? The blacksmith fight sucks, and the blacksmith looks like a werewolf. Did you notice that?
He did look like a werewolf.
He had like bad teeth and like weird patchy
and it kind of reminded me of like like the workforce that kind of worked with the Red Core monster at Jabba's palace Like,
Right?
it just kind of reminded me of that. Like, just the guy crying about
random thugs.
Yeah, just the outfits too. Like it's just like they look. I was like, man, they're hitting all the marks with the Star Wars stuff, man. It's crazy.
The only mark they didn't hit was Hamill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just okay. There, the only mark and then it was the Hamill. Oh fuck, man.
My next note is I love as they're escaping. He goes, "What's the password?" And Vosper comes in and goes, "My son," because he's a friar, and he's about to do like the sign of the cross, and he just punches him in the face. He goes, "How's that for a password?" I liked that. That was fun. Then Humphrey has a crossbow with like a rope attached to it, and he shoots it up to the top of a wall, and Gawain catches the arrow. It doesn't go through his hand. Doesn't impale him. Hi, Alicia.
Can I help you? What?
We got news of
Hold
something.
on, give me a moment.
That's okay.
I'm not looking at.
This one? Or
Okay.
this is for my mom. I think she's just trying to get shit ordered.
The first one.
This one.
Very good.
Bye, Alicia.
Oh, quick wedding choices of knives. Anyways,
dig it.
we can cut that.
Like knives.
Oh,
Hey! No, it's staying in for that
Oh.
reason alone. Okay, my next note is the callback that I knew you would appreciate. So they're trying to rescue Lynette, and she is trapped in a cell filled with straw. And Ronald Lacey breaks in and knocks over a candle and starts a fire. And she's distracted by the fire. So Ronald Lacey pulls the old rape trick.
A callback. The old rape trick.
And he tries to do some raping, but the fire gets him. Thank God. But the fire also gets her, too. So there's no happy ending to either one of those scenarios. Anyway, after the scene, Gawain is sad. And he says, "I will go my own way." And that's when I wanted the dun, 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 loving you isn't the right thing to do. And then Go Your Own Way by Fleetwood Mac is playing during this montage of Gawain just kind of meandering and falling down hills. Because it's like a minute of him just falling down hills.
Who decided that? Like, who cut this movie? I just want to meet the
I don't
person who
know.
cut this film.
Well, talking about cuts, our next moment is at 1 hour 19, where we get Connery back, and he says, "Shoon." And then we cut to commercial, because it literally fades to black like it would for a commercial break. So that's how I tied that in. Now I'll cut the tie. Yeah, whoever cut this movie, it's nuts. Well, who did the editing? Let me look on. I've got the file here. Look at the credits here. Okay. Action sequences director Anthony Squire. I'm gonna let that play. I'll see if I can find the editor. You go ahead and talk.
Well,
I'll look for an editor
I'm looking right now, actually.
because I can't seem to find one in the credits.
Because they probably don't want to be acknowledged.
Okay, all right. Here we go. You ready for this?
Ready.
Boom operators, we got 2. Sound assistant, we got 1. And then assistant editors. There are 2 assistant editors, Roy Birchley and Simon Manley. They were Birchley and Manley. But we have no main editor.
So these guys must have took an afternoon and said, okay, we'll cut the movie for you by like tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
And they're like, do you want to look it over? Make sure. Nope, this should be fine. and we're gonna put it out, and it's out.
Yeah. That's nuts, man. Mr. Connery's makeup / hairdresser, Ilona Herman.
I thought he looked good in this. I thought
He did. He did. I liked the Gene Simmons of the Forest look.
it's just so funny because to think again that this is the same time he's doing Never Say Never Again, he looks kind of pudgy in Never Say Never Again. And he looks, I mean, yeah, he's under a lot of like leaves and whatever, but he looks like pretty perky in this movie.
Yeah, and I think it's the dialogue. As I said, I think he's like, I'll get covered in all this shit, but this dialogue, there's something to this, because he's got good lines in this.
I feel like it's I wonder if they had, like we talked about this in the last movie. Do you think they had other actors in mind? We knew about Mark Hamill being like in mind. Do you think anybody else was like in mind if Sean Connery said no, or was he the first like person they thought of right away?
Yeah, it doesn't. It says Mark Hamill here, but not anybody else.
Yeah, so I mean,
Yeah, I mean, but he was able to get Peter Cushing. You know, like. And Peter Cushing was an equally big actor from Connery's time. You know what I mean? Like, he was doing the Hammer films. He was big.
yeah. So it's so interesting that they went this route and they said yes to this. But again, like I think like all joking aside, I think Connery steals this film.
Yeah.
And, that's what we're really getting to on this podcast is like the Connery Curious podcast. What how I guess we can start talking about this, like how was his performance, if you could like rate it?
All right. I'm torn because he's hamming it up for sure, especially at that end fight. Yeah, we're jumping all over it. I think we've abandoned linear structure.
Oh yeah.
At that end fight, he's hamming it up, but at the first scene, he's delivering really good dialogue, passionately. And then the scene he has with Morgan Le Fay, that's a really good interaction.
Yeah, I feel like there's no.
I'm going to say like 7.
That's where I was leaning towards too. I think 7, maybe 7.5, just because, I mean, I don't know. It's like, I mean, definitely comparing it between First Night and this. First Night, way better. First Night
was so much better.
Freaking amazing. But like, again, it's just like, he did carry this movie in many ways where it's like, it's like I mentioned before, it was like, the thing keeping me going, watch this movie was like, I gotta see when Sean shows up again. I gotta see this last battle, which
it's like a bad album that has 4 good songs, but they're all spread out.
Yeah, and it's funny we're talking about the fight scenes. You should have shortened up those fight scenes. Give us a long fight scene with the final battle. The final battle was like 2 hits. Quick. It was like the last saber fight in Last Jedi of Kylo Ren swinging at Mark Hamill.
I won't be doing action scenes. I've done my share of action.
Like he has this dope axe.
I'm doing this right now on the other set.
I must shave myself.
Yes, I've got to do. You see that action scene at the opening of Never Say Never Again? I'm doing a lot of hard work. That's why they're sending me to the spa to get rid of the free radicals.
Too many free radicals.
Dude, you're very good at the Connery.
Oh, thanks.
But yeah, it could have been a better ending with him. So for context, let's go to the ending. The year given by the Green Knight comes to an end, and Gawain, meeting with Humphrey and the former prisoners, goes out seeking the knight. Gawain is attacked by Oswald, who is Wallace Shawn, Elton John, Putin, Elon Musk, and Baron Fortinbras's army, Fortinbras being John Rhys Davies. And Oswald challenges Gawain to a duel with his champion. After defeating several of Oswald's champions, Oswald himself fights Gawain while the former prisoners fight his army. Gawain wins the duel and the army retreats. That was a moment I liked where Casper, shoot him in the back, and Casper shoots one of the guys, the wrong back, Casper. And it comes back when Gawain has Oswald pretty much beaten. Oswald screams out, "Shoot him, Casper!" And Cushing goes, "Nah, don't do that. He got himself into that. He can die. He can see how a battle turns out when he gets himself into it." And he just lets him be killed. So that was really good. Following his fight with the prince, Gawain is approached by the Green... He was a prince? What? Gawain is approached by the Green Knight. Gawain has failed to solve the final line of the riddle within the time limit and must allow the Green Knight one swing at his neck with an axe. The Green Knight strikes Gawain, but he is unharmed due to the sash given to him by Lynette. We didn't talk about that. Lynette gives Gawain a green sash and tells him no harm will befall him while he wears it. So that's the thing. So when Connery swings the axe, it just cuts off the sash. The Green Knight and Sir Gawain duel, and as the Green Knight suffers a mortal wound, which I don't understand why, because you can cut his head off, but you stab him in the tummy, he's dead. He asks Sir Gawain to stop the battle, realizing that he has already lost. Sir Gawain returns to Lynette, who tells him that she must return to Lyonesse alone. Oh boy, let's talk about this craziest moment in the movie for me. As he touches her cheek, she transforms into a dove and flies away. I audibly went, "What?"
Man, he can't catch a break, can he?
And that's how the movie ends. And not only can't catch a break, and he can't spit, but the dude can't fucking smile either. Like, watch that end scene again, and it's just him awkwardly smiling and then awkwardly not smiling. And then awkwardly smiling and then awkwardly not smiling. And it's real weird and uncomfortable. He doesn't know how to take the news. She's like, "I gotta go," and he's like, "But I'll always be here." And he's got this big weird smile on his face, and then she's like, "But I have to go," and it cuts back, and he's got this weird, just flat mouth. It's weird. It's so weird.
What else has he done?
Miles O'Keefe.
He was in a Pocahontas movie in the 95.
Wait,
he was. This is.
Oh no, that wasn't the Disney one.
No, this is like a. It looks like he was doing a lot of these kind of
cheap
films. Knockoff films. The only four films he's known for, according to IMDb, are The Blade Master, Ator the Fighting Eagle, Sword of Valiant, and the Pocahontas the Legend.
The Blade Master, Tarzan the Ape Man. He was as Tarzan, huh? But from the point of view of Jane, huh? Bo Derek as Jane and Miles O'Keefe as Tarzan, huh? I can see that. He's a good Tarzan. He looks good with his shirt off. Like he's cut, you know.
Hey, he was cut in this film too. Like that's seeing him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So like I think that's why they went with him. We're talking about before the comparison of He-Man. I think they definitely wanted somebody who had some build to him and to be a hero. But I guess that they got to the bottom of the barrel real quick. It looks like.
This is okay. So I'm just looking through his filmography. He was in a film called Dead On Relentless 2. I love. So this is the first paragraph of the Wikipedia. Dead On Relentless 2 is a 1992 thriller film directed by Michael Schroeder. The tagline for the movie was, "The first killer was unpredictable. This one is unstoppable." The movie was filmed in Los Angeles, California. It is the second installment in the Relentless series. I don't know. I love shit like that. And then he's in a movie in 1995 called Zero Tolerance. Wait, the top of the article says 1995. The paragraph says 1994. American action film from PM Entertainment Group, directed by Joseph Merry and starring Robert Patrick and Mick Fleetwood.
Really?
Yeah, and Titus Welliver. Hey,
Hey.
my dad. Anyway, so just looking through his filmography out of curiosity. He's definitely interesting.
Absolutely.
And it wasn't bad at all. Like, he was very good, but his character sucked, and the dubbing really screwed him.
Yeah.
So yeah, the turning into the dove, that was crazy. When the Green Knight dies, I really like how he turns white gradually, and then his head like sucks in at the end. That was awesome.
That was like the reverse of of the end of Live and Let Die when they blow up.
Right.
Just,
or Anthony Zerbe from License to Kill.
yes.
The exact opposite of that.
Yeah, that was a little shocking, but I did like that though. I did like how he turned white. It was just like turning into stone kind of, and like
Yeah.
I was like, so like, you know, yeah, we rip on the special effects, but I applaud their creativity.
Yes, good creativity, A+ for effort.
Yeah.
In a lot of the shots. Yeah, varying range of effort, but some of them really a lot of work was put into it. You could tell.
Oh yeah.
Maybe not the Wolfman transition of bringing Lynette back to life.
And the weird like
but-
light coming out of like people's hands and stuff.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Those lights, but those weren't practical effects. What they did with practical effects was good.
Yeah.
But the computer effects of the time, you could.
Very.
They were given like $1,000 to do
Oh, yeah.
those effects. I don't know.
Oh.
We'll never know the budget.
Yeah.
One of my notes is at the end she says, "Touch my cheek, be not afraid," or whatever, and he just goes, "Okay," and he touches her butt. Anyway, so she turns into a bird, flies away, and then he looks down in the river, and there's the ring stone there, the magical disappearing stone or whatever. And then it disappears. No stone for you. And then it just ends on a shot of his face. And it's really weird. It's like the worst ending shot of a fantasy film ever. It's just his face. He's just kind of like, what?
So
What happened? A
weird.
bird? She just turned into a bird? And that rock just disappeared. What? And it's just freeze frame on that expression. But not even that, like, because I'm sure he wasn't given that motivation. It's like, okay, now she's not there anymore. Okay, well, what happened? She's gone. You just pretend that she's not there anymore. And that was his direction. Anyway, so that brings us to the end of the movie. And I think we've talked for quite a bit about it at this point.
Yeah, we're 2 hours and 6 minutes, about to hit 7 minutes. So
diggity.
I think
We can't go over 2 hours 7 minutes. Wrap it up now. What'd you give it?
so okay. So what do you? So I guess we already kind of rated his performance. We're both at about a
so
7.
Let me. I'm just gonna mute that for a second. I will call her back. We're gonna pull it up in the Google Sheet here. All right, Sword of the Valiant. Check it off. We've watched it. All right. So, our Sean rating. What are we giving for our Sean
So
rating?
Sean, I think I will give him. I'll hit him with a 7. A 7.5. 7.5.
7.5. I'm going to go 7. You know what? Yeah, I'm going to go 7.5 as well.
Ooh.
You've convinced me because he especially that first scene. He's really good.
Yeah, I feel like I didn't like I wasn't not with him in each scene. You know what I mean? Like I was paying attention to every word he said, every scene, every moment he didn't have a line. Just his aneurysms, his face, his
aneurysms.
I had an aneurysm watching this movie.
I hear
His
you.
mannerisms, his
Mannerisms?
mannerisms. Sure, we got it. We're there.
Sorry.
But yeah, just yeah, his performance. I did not. There's nothing about his performance I didn't like. I didn't feel like he was phoning it in at all. He was like,
No, not at
he
all.
was there to show. He showed up for work, and and then apparently went off to be James Bond afterwards, and he still showed up in the
Or during.
Yeah. So it's.
Mm.
I think yeah. So I think he deserves that 7.5.
Yeah, I agree with that. He's not committing, but he's taking the material and he's being as committed as he needs to be for the day's work.
Right.
He's not Gandalf. He's not Ian McKellen diving into Gandalf,
Yeah.
but he's. I think he just embraced the weirdness of the movie, and he's like, "You guys gave me good dialogue to read, so yeah, 7.5 for me as well."
Now the movie itself. Whew.
Oh, I'm leaning towards a 3.5. I wanted to say 4, but I'm leaning towards 3.5. How about you?
I'm giving it a fucking 3. Like,
3?
just because it did make me laugh. I was thinking of 2 because I really didn't care for it, but like I was like, you know what? There's some fun memories here. With all these films,
Yes.
it's like that's how. For those who don't know me and Dylan, like we always take the most simple scenes in the movie and make it hilarious, like
Oh,
a
yeah.
la like our recent watch of Tomorrow Never Dies of like M, Tanner, and Bond in that very fast moving
my
car,
God.
and we just made we just riffed on that.
Yes, for the setup for the scene is that M is giving Bond his mission, but they're in the back seat of a car, and Tanner and Moneypenny are in the car and whatnot.
Just
But the car is driving
whipping
so
through the streets.
fast, and all of them have drinks in their hands. So we just, comedically cranked it up to 11, where the drinks are just they're just struggling to hold on to the drink, and you just hear that. Just hear the ice clinking around and everything,
I like
and just spilling all over their shirts.
I had a bit where Tanner took like a bowl of like piping hot soup. And it was like, "Mom, here's your soup." I was like, "Oh, thank you, Tanner."
Splashes all over Judi Dench. Oh, it just becomes like an "Are you being served?" skit. Oh my God.
Oh man. But yes, so we take little scenes like that and just make them crazy, and just there's a lot of that in this film, and I think that's what gave it the little bump of 3 for me. It's still low, but I'm still giving it the 3 there.
I agree with you that the goofiness of it and the ability to make me laugh and go, "What?"
Yeah, like this is the first like low rated film so far we've covered.
Yeah,
but
we're gonna get lower. I'm sure.
Yeah, but it's just like just makes me so curious, man. It's just like that's why I love about this podcast is like we're really learning what the fuck this dude did that wasn't James Bond, and it's like so fascinating.
Right.
So like.
And this was at the same time as he was doing Bond too, which is even more fascinating because both of the films that we've watched previous are outside of his Bond time. Yeah. And this was in the smallest window possible where he was also being Bond.
Oh, there's other ones I think that go side to side with his Bond career, I think.
Oh, for sure. There's a bunch.
Yeah.
Like so from 62 he did The Longest Day and Dr. No. So half of his films were not Bond. 64, Goldfinger, Marnie, Woman of Straw, so 1 out of 3. 65, The Hill and Thunderball, so 1 out of 2. 67, You Only Live Twice, and The Bowler and the Bunnet. So, and that was a documentary that he directed. So really, that was his only. No. Well, so that's 2 films. 2 films in the year, and then 71, The Anderson Tapes and Diamonds Are Forever. So he kind of stayed busy doing other stuff as well as Bond. The only Dr. No, From Russia with Love, and Goldfinger are the only 3 in a row where it's Bond nonstop. So, and I think that may have led him to just be a little tired of playing that character, and that's when we started getting Marnie, Woman of Straw, and The Hill. He gets to work with Hitchcock, you know what I mean? Not on The Hill, on Marnie. But I think that's when he really starts to branch out. And Man Who Would Be King, it is 4 years from his last Bond role. He's free and clear from that. He's looking good. He's feeling good. He's acting with his best friend. First Night is 95. He is far away from Bond. The closest he's come to Bond has been Last Crusade 6 years previous. But Sword of the Valiant, if he's making Never Say Never Again at the same time, that's the smallest window where he's Bond.
Also, people do compare The Rock to being a sort of his like Bond, his last Bond too, because the way
I've
that
heard
was.
that he's supposed to be Bond.
So I'm excited to see that as well.
I've never seen it. Have you?
If I have, it might have been in passing. It's like it's one of those films that would show up on like AMC at like a Sunday afternoon. So
I've heard it's Michael Bay's best.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see that for sure. So hopefully
Yeah.
soon. So I guess is it time for the Wheel of Curiosity?
Let's make sure. So you gave it a 3.
3.
I gave it a 3.5, and we both gave him a 7.5 as Connery's
I
performance.
think that's fair.
Alrighty, I think we're good. I think let's it's your turn to spin the wheel this week.
I
right?
have it here.
You got it.
All right,
Okay.
ready?
You want to share your screen with
If
me?
you want, sure. Let's see.
Yeah.
Beep and boop and boop.
Play that song again.
Can you see it?
I can.
All right, here we go.
All right, here we go. Oh wait, hold on. Can you port the audio into it?
Let's see. It should play, I think.
Okay.
Hopefully. And here we go. The Avengers.
The Avengers! The Avengers. 2012's The Avengers. The first film Mario and I saw in the theaters together. I'm so excited.
By the way, we were so close to hitting The Rock. The Rock was right under it.
Right next to it. Or playing by heart on the other side.
Yeah. So, The Avengers
All
it
right.
is.
The Avengers it is. All right.
Man. So, and that was what year?
1990 sorry. 1998.
Ooh, so okay, we're getting to close to new millennium.
So this has a Bond connection as well because it is a television adaptation of it is a film adaptation of the television show from the 60s, The Avengers, which Emma Peel was played by Diana Rigg, who was Mrs. James Bond, Tracy DiVincenzo.
And another connection, Ray Fiennes is in this.
And Ray Fiennes is M. Yeah, in the Craig series. So there's 2 Bond connections in this. So yeah, I've never seen this film. I've heard this film is absolutely fucking nuts.
It looks. I'm just looking at a quick trailer.
Yeah, you're still sharing the screen, so I just saw the trailer as well.
Yes.
It looks nuts.
Man, this is where it's gonna get fun. I think this is where it's gonna get nutty.
Yeah, we're getting into weird stuff. I have a feeling we're not going to see Bond for a while.
Yeah, I was literally thinking that the other day. I was like, I wonder. Like the one thing I'm like curious about, Connery curious, is what the final film is going to be, and a part of me hopes it's like Dr. No or Goldfinger or something. Like a part of me,
something we love.
Like I do want to do Goldfinger, because we are talking about we are, for those listening, we are planning on having some guests in the future. We don't want to spoil anything yet, or confirm.
I've got one that I know wants to be on at least one film, and you have someone that you said wants to be on at least one film. So
possibly 2. So there's some opportunities there. So it's good. It's going to get a lot of fun. We're still getting our wings here and, figuring out, how we're doing this. But I think so far we have a pretty nice structure here, and I hope you guys are enjoying it. I hope you guys are watching these films along with us.
I hope you're having as much fun as we are.
Yeah, this is.
I know that's like a cliche, cheesy thing to say, but I'm legitimately having a blast talking about these films. Like I love hanging out with you. You're one of my best friends, and I love talking about these movies and watching them because they're just so. I don't sit down and watch movies much anymore.
Same.
I don't, and you find yourself kind of following pop culture, and that you see what the new Marvel movie is or whatever. It's so rarely do I just, and I'm sounding cliche saying that too, but you just so rarely find yourself just throwing on a random movie for randomness sake. So this is allowing us to throw on a random movie, but for a purpose. And it maybe is going to make me a little more adventurous in my film watching anyway.
Yeah, same here.
Because like as I said, I keep going to library book sales and stocking up on DVDs. And I, just random movies.
Yeah, that's how I am. Like, it's funny you say that because, I'm sure, hopefully there's some listeners of the Friggin' Nerds podcast in here. That's my week every week is like, okay, a new episode of She-Hulk came on, so I have to watch that, review it for next week and stuff like that. So it's like, yeah, I find myself rarely sitting down to enjoy a film that like either I've
has
seen
no tie to now.
Yeah, and just enjoy it. And like I'll tell you a quick story. I recently watched Bullet Train on Netflix.
How was it?
It's Dylan, so much fun. It's
Yeah.
just like it's on Netflix now. I recommend you see it. It's just a dumb, fun action flick that you can just have a blast with, and just some fun cameos, great actors. Just
The trailer looked really fun.
Oh, it's yeah. So I meant to go see it in theaters, but I just it got away from me. But I just saw it drop on Netflix not too long ago. So I'm like, all right, gotta check it out finally. And it was just so much fun, and I don't have to sit there and wonder, oh, who is that? Maybe he's connected to King the Conqueror or something. I don't have to worry about that. I get to have fun. And same thing with these films. All I got to care about is
like they're ruining Star Wars.
Yeah,
you're not doing it right. Like it hasn't been done right for 40 years.
Bro, don't you hate talking about Star Wars now?
I do. I really do. It's not fun.
That's a quote.
Unless we were to go back and just watch the original trilogy.
Yeah, that's that's where I feel that's my safety place is I get to go back and watch New Hope again or Empire, because like that's the thing where I'm quoted in the Friggin' Nerds podcast every once in a while when we talk about Star Wars, where I always say I remember when it was cool. When it was not cool to like Star Wars.
Right? Yes. When I was a kid, you were not cool.
Yeah, you got made fun of, and that was it. But now it's like even my mother knows who Jar Jar Binks is, and it's just like...
Well, and it's through stuff like... And not saying it hasn't always been there, but man, BB-8 is like the ultimate marketable thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, If Mickey Mouse is the easiest logo to draw in the world, I just made it easier.
Yeah.
That's what they just cut one of Mickey's ears off and you got BB-8.
Yeah.
Simplest thing in the world. A circle and a half circle. and that is simple enough to catch. It's now become the fantasy lore that we can all mindlessly consume.
Yeah.
Whereas, and it was always like this. Technically, I remember before the prequels came out, I would have books of like Star Wars encyclopedias, and it was just all of the expanded universe stuff that had come out. You know what I mean? All that stuff. So it's always been like that, but you felt a little more niche, a little more insular, a little more alone.
Yeah, same thing like Marvel. Like a man, it's like, for God's sakes. I mean, Dylan, do you even give a shit about who Mephisto is?
I mean, in terms of the comics?
Yeah.
Or I mean, well, I don't really
in
care
general.
No. I mean, and I have so many comic books I need to start.
But the thing is, people
pouring through
people don't. The average person doesn't even know who Mephisto is. But because of the internet nowadays, it's like everyone is like, when WandaVision came out, which was a great show, one content creator kind of said,
it'd be Mephisto.
It's like Mephisto's the real thing here, and everyone's like, oh, that's Mephisto. And every show that comes out now, Doctor Strange movie comes out, Spider-Man, Mephisto. I'm like, you guys don't know who the fuck Mephisto is. It's like same thing with like back in the
It's
day.
Morbin
I mean,
time.
Christ, I remember when Guardians of the Galaxy, the first film, was announced, and I said to myself, "Wait, they're gonna make a movie about the fucking talking raccoon in the tree in space? That's never gonna make it." And now it's like a household name.
Yeah.
You know, so it's. I mean, I like that Marvel does that and Star Wars does that. So like at first, you know, I am happy that people I can talk to people about Star Wars and Marvel stuff, but at the same time, it's like, sure, this show is hilarious, but man, my Captain America was so much cooler, you know, and my Iron Man
Yeah.
was so
Well,
different.
Here's what I think. In my view, all of this is weakened significantly. One, they never should have made the Star Wars sequels. George Lucas, I don't know what his reasoning was for selling it, but that shouldn't have happened. And it should have just stayed a dead franchise, which would have been fine. I would have been fine with that. But on the Marvel front, everything should have ended with Endgame. That should have been the end of the MCU. We're done now. We just did an 11-year-long experiment, and we pulled it off almost flawlessly. We stuck the landing harder than anyone's ever stuck a landing. We found the hole in that landing strip and fucked it hard. You know, and it is one. I remember crying in Endgame, and it's just a CGI fucking garbled mess, but it was the masterpiece capper to that experiment. You know, you couldn't have ended that experiment any better. And that's where it should have ended.
Yeah.
And we go, okay, guys, we're done with Marvel. We don't need it anymore. It's okay. Go read Did you like this? This was fun. Go read all the comics. You know?
Yeah.
So.
Like, yeah, it's cool that I get to see, like, you know, I got to see Daredevil again. I'm excited about that, you know, and.
Did you watch season 3 of Daredevil?
Yes.
I liked that a lot.
Yeah, it was just we watched it not too long ago because Daredevil was, you know, teased to be coming in She-Hulk. He did come in She-Hulk.
Did they?
Hoyo.
Do they hook up in them?
Oh, you haven't seen it?
No, I haven't.
All right, well,
I've seen clips of him and his yellow and pink suit, which I kind of like.
well, spoilers. They hook up.
While she's She-Hulk,
I think
or while she's Jen.
I think she's Jen. I know she fucks as She-Hulk in that show too, but.
And this is the most incel conversation we can be having right now.
But anyways,
as Mario is getting married soon, and my girlfriend will be coming home in a while, and we've been together for years.
by the time this is released, I might be married already.
Don't worry.
Yeah. Yes. We do.
Don't worry,
yes.
folks. We fuck, not each other. Not that there'd be anything wrong with that. Just trying to specify.
I think bringing this back around to what we're talking about.
Whoa, try it, bro. What are you reaching around for? Sorry.
But yeah, so Star Wars and Marvel. I remember when it was cool to like that, but I think
not cool
to like that. But
yeah.
I think I'm still in that boat. I think we are still in that boat for now with James Bond, where I feel like there is a crazy, very small community of people, of super fans, but they're not like overly crazy as.
And then the really rich ones, like the lawyers and shit, that are just like buy. That's who the merchandise is marketed to. The James Bond Rolex. And,
oh yeah, like the Aston Martin DB5 Goldfinger replica. They built a DB5 with the working gadgets. It's a working Aston Martin DB5 with all the gadgets that work, except for the guns. The guns are just like, they make noise. For like $4 million.
I can't imagine why they wouldn't put real guns in there.
Yeah, but the smoke screen really works, which is fucked up, and the bulletproof screen actually works. That's like made with like a special like metal that like used on like the space shuttles or something. But it's like a
Damn.
look, you gotta look it up. It's like $4 million, and it's not even street legal for obvious reasons. So you're buying a $4
You're just
million.
buying a useless
It's a
car.
toy. It's a giant toy. But yeah,
Wow.
the community for that is really small. So I think that's, I like that we can still enjoy Bond in our little circle, and I
Yeah.
think, and that's why we started this podcast. We like Bond so much, and we wanted to really get into the actors who played Bond. So I think we talked about it like last episode. We do in the future want to tackle some of the other actors and like get our knowledge up.
More movies.
More movies.
Digging into Dalton, Brosnan's backlog. Curious again for Craig, or maybe Craig Curious.
Craig Curious.
And then, if it's wanted, the Lazenby list.
The Lazenby list. I like it.
If it's wanted, because that one might be the hardest one to get through. I think.
Well, that's the community. If you guys want it, let us know.
Yeah. I think, we might have to do those as like sporadic Patreon bonus episodes or something, because I don't know how many like bad foreign films I can watch.
Absolutely. But anyways, man,
this has been a blast.
Yeah, man,
dude.
this has been great. I think this is our longest episode so far.
Yeah. Also, I'm sorry to reconnect that last point real quick. I think Marvel had a negative effect on James Bond. So I hope with the rebooting of whatever happens next with James Bond, I hope we can kind of get away from that.
Just give me a classic gun.
Mission.
Give me a gun barrel, a cold open that's not connected. Give me a bitchin' fucking theme song. Give me
or connected, small enough to set up the plot.
Yeah, this is something simple.
Small.
Like, just like Casino Royale, you could say is kind of not connected.
Perfect.
It's like it's connected, but it's not in a way.
Yeah.
But again, I just want him to be, go to M's office, be like, here's your mission, here's your file, go down to Q Lab, get your gadgets, go on the fucking mission, and then give us a one-off in this. Don't kiss the girl at the end and roll the credits. It's just like,
have it be old-fashioned. And like you said, a kickin' rock song. We haven't had one in 16 years. 14 years. So I agree.
Yeah, so just...
The last one was Another Way to Die.
Yeah, so so I just want bring Bond... I mean, obviously, with today's standards, don't bring Bond back to his roots completely. But, just give us, our regular old... I loved what they did with the Craig movies, But it's just...
I would love a 50s... like a 1957 set film, but have Ray Fiennes, have Ben Whishaw, have who plays Moneypenny? Naomi. What's her name? Naomi Harris. Yes, have all those people, keep them, and then just set it in the 1950s.
That's what excited me about the end of Skyfall. When you see that leather-bound door, you're like, wow, he's in M's office. Oh, my God. Ray Fiennes is M now. Oh, my God. He's getting the file. He's going on a mission. That was then Spectre happened. And then...
And they stuck with the continuity.
Yeah. And then No Time to Die, which I still hold very highly, even though it's...
We had a good time in the theaters.
Yeah.
It was a fun
That
memory.
was, an emotional time. Emotional roller coaster. A lot of fun. But...
I remember we had tickets to see it twice, and as we left, we sat in the food court discussing it, and we're like, I don't think we can go back.
Yeah, 3-hour film, so it's like
it's an investment.
Yeah, but I have seen it at least 4 times since. 3.
Yeah, I think I've seen it. Yeah, I think I've seen it 4 times.
Yeah, just to hear that score, man, a great score. But anyways, I think we better get going before we.
We're at the end of it for sure. So yeah, as we said 45 minutes ago, our film for next week is The Avengers from 1998.
Probably easy to rent, fairly newer film, late 90s, so you guys can find it if you guys want to go. We always recommend your local library, or if not, rent it on Amazon or wherever you get your movies.
Let's see right now on Just Watch, if it is streaming anywhere. You can rent it on all the services, but it's not streaming anywhere.
Okay.
But yeah, as Mario said, as we've said before, local library. Go support your local library, and if they don't have it, they'll see if another one in the state system has it, or the county system or whatever, and they'll send it to you.
There it is. But all right, we made it.
So I look forward to watching 1998's The Avengers with you.
Me too.
Or not with you, discussing it with you.
Yes. But kind of watching it.
This has
together,
been fun.
Yes, absolutely, man.
So socials, what do we got for that?
So yeah, just hit us up. Hit us up over on Twitter at. I gotta double check that I have the right tag. It should be at CuriousPod007.
So you're gonna go to www.twitter.com. And that's where you can find us.
Yeah.
At CuriousPod007.
At Curious, or just search Connery Curious. We'll be there. If you guys have any questions, you guys can email us over at.
It is Connery. Well, hold on. Let me just make sure. ConneryCurious@gmail.com.
There we go.
ConneryCurious@gmail.com. Nice and
Hit us
simple.
up with questions. We'll probably we might get to your question and read it on the air here, man.
Yeah, seriously, send some questions in. Give us something to discuss other than the film we're discussing. And seriously, that would be honestly nice to like end an episode with maybe 20 minutes of like post talk where we read some questions if people have questions about the last film. It'd be a nice little refresher. Like we just spent 2 hours talking about sort of the Valiant, but we talked about James Bond and Star Wars at the end. It was a nice little refresher. So maybe after the Avengers drives us fucking insane, because I know it's going to. Because Sean Connery wears a giant like Grateful Dead bear suit. Like
I can't wait.
So and there's like robot bees like from Simpsons Hit and Run, so great video game. Maybe after we talk about that, somebody sends in a question about The Man Who Would Be King, and we go, oh. That's really refreshing. Remember how good The Man Who Would Be King was? And obviously, with this way the schedule works out, it's not going to work out like that. But I was using that as an example.
Exactly.
So if after we watch Sir Billy, I'm sure we're going to want to talk about Last Crusade for a few minutes before we end the episode. So we're not ending it depressed about talking about Sir Billy. It's like, well, I guess this podcast is over.
That is the.
I don't want to do it anymore.
That is the one I hope. Either we get out of the way quickly, or
it's last.
Because man, I've tried to avoid looking at clips of it because I want to be surprised at how ridiculous it is.
Yeah,
I've seen some images and stuff. And yeah, man, it looks
nuts,
crazy. So that one we got a trip for that one for sure. But.
So, and also, I forgot to say that in the Avengers, his character's name is Sir August de Winter.
Ooh.
Winter with a Y. So it's fall season of winter.
Why? Because I gotta.
Shoon. I don't gotta now.
But
no rush, really.
All right, let me stop this nonsense before it gets any crazier, man.
4 hours
with
in.
Connery Curious, man. I've been Mario Lima.
I have been Dylan Titus, but I'm not anymore. Now I'm Dylan Titus.
Very good, and we'll see you guys
Mario,
on the next.
It's been a blast. Oh, hold on, you're lagging there.
Say it again.
You're lagging there. You're lagging there. Hold on, we can't end on a lag. Okay,
oh no.
Say it again.
No.
Yeah. Now say it again. I'm sorry.
Anyways, with Connery Curious, I've been Mario Lima.
I've been Dylan Titus.
And you guys have been curious, to say the least.
All right, I think we can end it there.
Stay curious, guys. We'll see you guys next week.
Stay curious.
Connery Curious.
You've been listening to Connery Curious, a Titus Compositions and Friggin' Nerds media production. For more content, be sure to follow us on various forms of social media by searching Connery Curious. Be sure to rate and review the show wherever fine podcasts are downloaded.